here in the flesh. So if you thought we were these incredibly good-looking people, it's not true. This is us for real.
Sorry to
Sorry.
disappoint.
Wait, I call this the Do You Believe podcast. Welcome to the Corncast, the weekly Corncast.
We're talking about our grain yield this last week. It's pretty high.
I was on the
Corn
lower
futures
end
are up, but yield is bad.
Kernel count was lower. Actually.
I got some.
Sorry.
Got
Sorry
an
to
infestation of what attacks corn. I didn't do my
Mice.
research.
Aphids.
Mice,
Aphids.
giant aphids. They break into your
Locusts.
style. Locusts, historically, yes. Probably dogs and cats. And get really hungry, then gotta go on keto diet or something.
Biggest trick is I gotta make sure I don't pick my nose on camera. I wanted to make
yeah.
it so you guys could see me. That way you could yell at me if I did anything crazy. But
I know, it's kind of weird that it's like I hear your voice, but I don't see your face.
the frustrating part is like, I think it's just because we're streaming, it doesn't let me, it steals my camera and doesn't let Skype use it.
Oh, okay.
Because I tried to do this
can-
on that Zencaster thing too, but it wouldn't let me do that. So whatever. So this is what we're doing. You could open up the Twitch stream and you could watch me like 10 seconds behind.
Hey, that's an exciting.
Guess
That
what?
might
It's
be
just
weird.
it's just my face talking.
Maybe I'll do that.
What do we want to talk about first? We were texting
I-
each other a couple ideas,
Yeah.
but
Well,
Um,
I know Aaron was into his mukbang. I don't know if you guys
oh
heard.
yeah, continue on that.
There was that. Well, I mean, I heard there was. I just had one thing to say. It's all over. That lady who was on some show. I don't know if it was The Bachelorette or what. She used to like. What? She was selling farts in a jar. I think she was making like 50,000 a month or something. I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but she had a heart attack recently because of like the diet that she's been consuming for like better farts.
Or diet. I didn't know. I guess. Diet for optimal
She was
farts.
on Adam Carolla's podcast, but I haven't listened to it.
I don't think I've ever watched that guy's podcast.
I don't even know who the fuck that is, but I've heard the tiniest bit about this fart lady. I mean, good on her for selling. Is that taxable? Can you tax that?
She's providing a
it-
service, a very smelly service or product.
Dude, it's like, do you ever think it's like that's what we're like coming that's what we're coming to is all these markets squeezed that bad and cornered that bad that people really have to just sell farts for a living, or is that just kind of
I mean,
easy money?
I think it's almost just. It's just people filling in the cracks of society. I mean, there's a market for it clearly, and I think we're just now at the point where we can like locate the people who are into that easily. And now it's like, or really, they come to you if you're like a good-looking person on the internet. I feel like you can sell a fart in a jar, no problem. Like I bet anyone could like everyone
So
is
do you
a fetish. So,
do you think her main well, that's what I was just gonna ask. Do you think her main consumers of gas is the people buying those jars? Do you think it's a bunch of like creep dudes that are like just greasy in their basement, or do you think it's like
It's
other
people
girls
like
that
oh,
are
I
like,
thought it was
I
like
wonder if
Tom
other-
Hanks
my
and
farts- oh yeah,
like
probably
Maybe.
BP,
Prince
bro.
Andrew.
B-
They're reselling
the
it for
BP executives.
Or maybe it's like just other chicks that are like, man, I've always wanted to know if my farts are like really bad or if other girls' farts smell as bad. You know, like girls are like self-conscious about it. They're like, I'll just buy her farts to compare. Like instead of like asking other girls like, hey, what do your farts smell like? They're like, oh, okay, this girl's selling farts.
Poses some like creepy dude like in his basement. Like, my name's Douglas, and
Yeah,
I just want a fart jar.
I'm Melvin.
Melvin poses that, but it's really some lady just trying to be like, oh, my farts don't smell too bad. Oh man, who knows, dude? I mean, I do think it's like, regardless, I think it's kind of
Okay,
like.
guys, it's me. I bought up the whole fart market.
Oh, you
Go ahead.
One day when we
Sorry.
have sources, dude, you're gonna be sitting pretty. You gotta save them. Hold on, they increase in value over time.
Yeah, with their heart attack, I'm saving all the ones I bought so that
Oh, they're gonna be
Yeah.
valuable. There you go.
exactly.
Is she like okay though? Like I feel like we should at least touch like is she all right? Like is her okay and stuff like
Well, when did
She's
this
making
happen?
200,000 off parts. Who cares? I'm sorry.
is she like alive still? She didn't die, did she?
I don't know.
No,
I
she
think
didn't
she's
die.
alive. I think
Either
she's
way, dude, I also found out about this. I never knew who he was, but I saw like a couple YouTube videos on him. This dude Basherverse, like he was like kind of a creeper, but like I don't know the whole situation. And now he's kind of a creeper and shit, but like I looked at like he's infamous for this like crazy ass like insane meltdown he had on stream, and then he or on video I guess. But then like I looked it up and he fucking died. Like I looked him up like yesterday and he's just fucking dead. It's
He
like
did.
he's dead. It's like I guess I can't like look at these videos and just like laugh anymore. Like
Yeesh.
oops, whoopsie. Well, rest in peace or whatever.
I also heard something about like 40 streamers in like Norway or something. I don't know. There were like 40 Twitch streamers that got arrested. The story did not make sense to me, but it was something along the lines of like their viewers were in on it and they were like sending the streamer money. It was like a money laundering scheme somehow. I don't get it because I don't do illegal stuff. But they were like sending him money, and they were using fake like credit cards. And then he would like not he, but all these streamers, they would like, I don't know what they did. They would take some of the money and then send some of it back to the streamers. And I don't really get what happened. But 40 of them got arrested, and then a lot of these like watch party people like XQC and all these like Poke Anime or whatever, a lot of them are like starting to get under fire for doing like these like watch parties because it's like, I mean, yeah,
they're like
cheap content. They're just basically stealing money from whatever movies they're watching, directing traffic to them and not altering it enough.
I feel that like not changing. Does it have anything to do with like fair use and that kind of thing?
It's like copyright stuff.
I think. Yeah, I suppose there could be like I guess on YouTube it seems like it at least used to be a really fucking big point of debate, but like I think I don't know. I think like there could be room for some improvement on those laws because I do think sometimes that shit gets a little bit like like you are almost just stealing shit, but like I don't know.
But I mean, that's no offense. I know we've talked about it, but watch party's kind of like lazy content. If you're just sitting there watching a movie with fans, it's like
I don't know anything about what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just watch movies, and then that's the stream. It's like it's supposed to feel like you're watching a movie with the streamer.
Cause I get that's kind of lame.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I was thinking,
comment too much on it.
We wanted to do something like that.
But like,
but I would just be like, I don't know, just commenting on everything that happened in it and making fun of it, or that's what I would be doing.
Think they really
so
do that. They're just watching. That was funny.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like there's a medium and like there's a point in that spectrum of like not saying anything and then like commenting on like a bunch of stuff. Like there's probably like a point in there that's pretty definite if you look. That's like, okay, like this is where the line is crossed. If you start like being this quiet or something or not disrupting it this much, then I'm sure honestly there's probably like outlines right now like laid out. I don't know the actual law about it at all, but like that's I don't know, I bet there's like shit laid out about it.
I mean, you can't listen to like music and monetize, like you can't listen to someone else's music, you can't even have it in on background, to my knowledge. You can't have like Drake playing in the background and then monetize that video. So why would you be able to show a whole ass movie and then be like, oh, I altered it enough to where it's fair use? It's like, no, dude, you just basically premiered a movie on your screen like that you didn't make.
That's true. They should just make them their own movie and watch that movie on stream with their buddies.
The perfect solution.
Yeah, Max Bros. He's got a cute
He-
little smile on his face. It looks like a little like this first Christmas is just around the corner, even though it just went around the corner. You know, tomato potato.
Well, since he's stuck.
Dude,
Back to the
like-
mukbang thing, dude. Off
Oh,
stream, Aaron was shitting on mukbangs while he was doing it.
Oh my god.
You were literally doing it.
No, it is not. Granted, I was eating food in front of the camera, and I did say this is like a mukbang, but it's.
Do you
not a
just
fucking
just hate it because of that the one guy? What's his name?
There,
Nick
no,
Nick
there
Nick
are,
the
like,
avocado. What's his name?
Nick avocado. No, okay. Well, there's like a few of them that are just like annoying to watch. He's one of the worst in my opinion. But like, first off, the content they're making money to fucking gorge themselves, which like I guess I could do that if I wanted. Anyone could, I guess, but no, no. And then like just the sounds, all the fucking sounds, and it's so gross. And like I don't understand. Like it's beyond me how people actually seriously watch that unless it's like cathartic for them in some way or like helps them deal with their own like issues. I guess like if they're going through like eating issues or something, yeah, okay, maybe you get something from it. But like it's just so like, oh, it's grimy.
I think
Oh, there he
that's.
is.
The
Welcome
video is
back,
too
Max.
powerful.
You keep screwing up. I gotta like readjust these camera thingies.
I know.
Gotta move Aaron over here again.
I'm eating more mukbang.
Turn this one back on.
That's
oh,
cool.
now
I
that-
was worried that I was gonna mess it all up.
Now they're both Aaron.
Bust it off.
All right, we're just gonna have
Oh, you-
Aaron
I hope you guys
twice
can't see up my nose, 'cause it looked like
and
the-
say he's got a twin. And then we're gonna add Max back in.
Add Max into the potion.
Am I going the wrong way? Max, you're on the wrong side. Jeez. Oh, still at the office. I see. Okay. All right, we're
Yeah,
good. And Aaron's just being
just
cool.
making money.
We went back to the mukbang
Yeah.
What's a good filler?
and then
You
trying
must-
to
you
understand.
must know, for all you mukbang fans out there, if you must know, I was eating spicy peanut ginger chicken. It was good as fuck.
I believe you.
What element of that dish makes the most ASMR
Ooh,
thing?
it's gotta be
The chopsticks clanking together.
Oh, I'm not skilled enough to use chopsticks yet.
I thought you were eating with chopsticks. You're a fraud.
Well, I know I was having a fork like a good red-blooded American man does. Use a fork. No, but it's either got to be like the smacky gross sounds of the like sauce in the rice or the crunch of the fresh peanuts. Here's some ASMR for you.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna eat one peanut off screen because
I never
that's-
understood that, like the ASMR side of it. It's disgusting.
Of
So
mukbang-
have you guys
I don't get it.
have you guys noticed that like there's this thing that like YouTubers and like podcasters have been doing, not all, but like I've noticed it recently, where they tune their mic in such a way where it like picks up like all of their like crisp like anytime their mouth moves, like the best example that I can think of, and I really don't listen to them that much because their show's trash, is it called like the Majority Report or something?
He loves
That
that,
guy
show.
that-
I don't know who that is.
Neither do I.
Well, man, it's the guy who I think his name's Sam Cedar, and he like
Oh yeah, I remember. He had who was he fighting with? Oh, he was fighting with Crowder.
Steven
Yeah.
Crowder, yeah. But
Are they
but
enemies?
like
Or are they on the same side?
Oh,
man,
they're
it's just
opposites.
this old dumb drama where basically like what happened was so Steven Crowder was trying to have on sorry, someone just walked in the room and just distracted me, but or the office, sorry. But someone
Don't break the illusion.
I'm working hard here, fellas. But so it was like
It was like basically Steven Crowder was trying to debate H3, which we could talk about him a little bit too. That dude is just going nuts. But H3 guy, Ethan, like was like, "Oh, I'll debate you," and basically Steven Crowder's like, "Okay, I'll have you on my show to debate." And then they like got everything set up and their faces were showing like on the screens, and then all of a sudden Ethan's like, "Okay," and he like pressed a button and like dipped out, and then Sam Cedar showed up, and it was like it was stupid drama. But Sam Cedar and other podcasters I've noticed they've been like lately it's like this new thing where they tune their mic to where it's like it just catches like all of I wish I knew the audio term for it, but they catch like every little crispy like and like it's very breathy, and it's like
Are they like right up to the mic and stuff, or
I mean, yeah,
You know.
but there's other people that are right up on it that it's not tuned like that, and it's like it's I can't listen to it, dude. It's very it's
I
too
know what
much
you
for
mean.
my
I know
ear.
what
It
you
might
mean.
have something to do with like I guess the layout of like their whole setup, because like if everyone's like in a room like at a table like facing each other, you probably have to have different mics than if you're like in different rooms or something, or have them like tuned different or whatever.
Yeah, sorry.
Who are you talking to?
There's a little elf in here. That's my niece. I don't want her on the camera.
Yeah, it's just the office out there, just coming in from the windows.
Take your kid to work
Obviously.
day.
I don't want. Yeah. Sorry. Wait, did she pop in the screen?
No, she's
I
not.
don't. I just. I don't
No,
want
she
her,
she
like,
was
on-
just. I think she was that red building behind you.
Yeah, she was behind
Okay.
the building.
Spider-Man just flying. What if Spider-Man just flew past?
That'd be
Oh,
awesome.
that's right there.
Look, Spidey. But yeah, I'm sorry guys, I got really distracted. But yeah, it's like you guys know what I'm talking about. They tune their mics in such a way where
Just too
it's very
sensitive,
breathy and crispy, and it's like I don't like it. I think they're trying to get like an ASMR effect out of it, but it just to me does not sound right. And
See, that's
I
the
don't
thing.
like
It's like the same people that like people chewing food, would they like that? And I don't understand that.
probably
I don't get it.
I don't-
It's
Well,
so
yeah.
annoying.
Different. So like, from what I understand, as someone who dabbles in ASMR a little bit,
Oh, you do? Okay, fill us in.
I listen to some ASMR. Like, there's like some shit like anything that has like sometimes they have these mics that are shaped like an ear, and they'll take like little brushes or something, and they'll like pop it in, and it sounds like and kind of feels like someone's like fucking with your ear or like cleaning your ear out. It's really weird, but I
you can
like
just
it.
do that yourself.
You know, that's
Yeah,
how
you
I
just-
got an ear infection and almost had to pay $1,000 in medical bills. Is I was dabbling around in my fucking ear. Don't do that,
Yeah.
kids. Forget about drugs. Don't fuck with your ears, okay? There you go.
They do say that it's not meant for that.
A bad fucking idea. I thought I hit a patch of wax and I scraped it a little bit and then I got an infection for like 2 months. Like it was over the trip the family trip.
Well,
I get this.
I heard a
Come on
rumor if
now.
you keep cleaning your ears out, then your body freaks out and starts making more wax.
That could be true. I heard a rumor that there are candles that you can put by your ears. Those things don't work. Like people are like, no, you see the gunk. But like, no, you can't see the gunk. All right, what's your mukbang? If you were to be a mukbanger, what would you do, Lee?
I'll probably just get a bunch of Taco Bell every day. I'm guessing.
What's your oh, dude? All right, so Taco Bell has the only slushies that I like anywhere. Like I don't like slushies, but theirs are pretty fucking good.
Like the Mountain Dew ones or the other weird ones?
Not even the Mountain Dews. Like they're berry. They have one that's like a tropical berry one that's good. They had like a raspberry cherry one that was pretty dank. What's up, bro?
Dude, you like phased out of reality there. That was strange.
Yeah, dude, it's weird. Is your office temporal?
well, these business people came in, and you know, business is done in the metaverse these days. So, yeah,
that
but
wa-
dude, what?
I was reading something about some lady was like, I was sexually harassed at the
Yes.
metaverse. It's like, no shit, that's like the first thing
I
that's
think
gonna
I
happen.
sent you that. Yeah, I think I sent you that, and I was just like,
That's what
women
happens
trying
when
to
there's
ruin
anonymous.
work, even in a virtual setting. It's like, but it's like that. You got groped by an avatar. Like
Digitally.
was it like a what are the was the avatar? Did he look like a freaking me character? Like it's like a me character runs out. It's like honk honk. Like, it's like, oh, I didn't feel that, but I feel so assaulted. What, bro? What the f? Like,
So, like, did anyone get any like charges or anything? Did anyone like get in trouble for it?
I
It's
don't know, but
anonymous,
in my
right?
opinion, they're just priming it to like get people in trouble and like, oh, you're gonna start seeing headlines like, oh, so and so was sexually assaulted in a meeting, and it's like, bro,
In a meeting.
You're-
Like, it's probably like a
like-
10-year-old in the metaverse, like, dude, I'm gonna go grab her butt, dudes. Watch this.
but I
And
mean,
they're like, "Oh
also
my
it just
gosh, oh my gosh."
debases actual sexual assault. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
that, I'm sorry, but that doesn't count. Like, no one actually touched you. If you feel violated, you got something else like in that situation, like something else is wrong with you that you need to sort out. I'm sorry, but
They could just do like they do in video games. It's like if you're gonna do that kind of stuff, then like either like ban that account because like that happens already all over the place and like all sorts of shit. It's like ban the account, or like
Yeah.
maybe there's places that like you can enter. Like I don't even know much about the metaverse, but like maybe there's like rooms or whatever the fuck they're called that you can go in, but like if you fuck around in that room, then they can just kick you out. And you
This
just
is
can't
the
go in
no
back
butt
for-
touching room. That's the other room down the
Like,
hall.
well, then you can have like literal virtual safe spaces, which is a very weird fucking thing to say.
it's
But,
dumb.
like-
It's just stupid. I
But I-
wouldn't even want to entertain the idea.
I don't want to go into the metaverse, like
Bro,
dude,
imagine you're like they like turn like GTA into like a MMO, and like someone like beats your character with a bat, and they're like, oh, this dude assaulted me, like, and he gets like real assault charges. They're like, throw him in jail, not in the metaverse, but in real life. It's
Well,
like, bro, they break
you
in.
know-
This guy's got his Oculus, and the cops come in. He's like, what the?
But you know what they
Bag 'em
do
and bag 'em.
with you know what they do with people who do that kind of shit and troll on GTA Online is they just put all of them in their own online server. So like if they like cheat or like fucking troll people or grief like that, they just take all of them and put all the people that do that in their own server, and it's like they're all in their own hell.
Jail server. Yeah, it's like the
Pretty
jail
much.
server.
That's it. Which like I don't know. I always enjoyed a little bit of trolling in games. So like
Yeah.
I always had fun fucking around a little bit. So like I never really cared, but like I don't know. That's just I think it's just gonna be like a weird version of the internet kind of. Where there's like
I don't think it's gonna pan out to be anything like what people are trying to make it. To
I don't
be
even
honest. It's
know
gonna be
if
such like a bastardized version.
I mean, the
Everyone's
first.
just hanging out in the
I feel like
lobby.
half the population, the first thing they do when they get in there is like, what can I do that I'm not supposed to do?
In real life, yeah.
Of course.
How can I
That's how
break
people
this?
always-
How can I make this awful? Like, that's a good chunk of people that would be on there. So,
Well, then like imagine meetings just get hacked and someone's just like post like everyone's face looks like a butt cheek or something, and
that'd be
they're like trying
great.
to talk business and like real business, and then it's like, what is going on? And it's all these just old like tight necktied people like get the butt off the screen. Like,
Bunch of farce sounds.
yeah, everyone's talking every time they say something. It's like, this is absurd. I'm appalled.
Man, I would probably like post like the link to our office meeting like on a message board or something. Be like, guys, come
Like Reddit.
come get this one. It's a little boring in here. Spice it up a bit.
Oh man, I guess I would probably like I don't know. I'd do something like get a bunch of like get like a shirt, stuff a bunch of like spiders or something in my shirt and prank someone some way. Like something I wouldn't want to do in real life because it's gross or weird like that. But like it like freak someone out or like do a good goof on someone. It'd be funny. Just like they walk into that business meeting. You just like pull your pants down, a bunch of spiders come out, a bunch of snakes come out, and see what people do. Because some people are really fucking scared of that shit. It'd be kind of funny. Or bees, maybe. Just a pants full of bees. That'd be fun.
I mean, if they
Jeez.
try to integrate, 4D like sense sense
Yeah.
activation, which they've got stuff like that. I've read that they have things like where, for instance, like this is a technology that's really old, where there's something like where a guy can like put this thing around his ding ding, and then the girl can like I think insert something, and you can like feel the movements of each other. Okay, and so if they try to integrate things like that for like I can only imagine if there's like a food company that's trying to develop a food. They've got like they're gonna be like, oh, this is what it tastes like, and they also have these like roller things that you can like lick, and it'll like you'll be able to taste whatever it's touching on like the other end.
Weird.
So, but if they try to integrate that stuff into the metaverse, like I
Oh,
feel like
boy.
you're really only asking for trouble. at
Yeah.
that. And it's like, and it's probably what they're trying to do, to be honest. I
Well,
mean,
what if it's like, what if you get some weirdo that like figures out how to fucking like trap someone in the I don't know how it works being in the metaverse. Like, what if they're able to trap you in the metaverse and then like imprison your avatar, and then you're just
Well-
like in a digital prison forever.
well, so there's a comic book series called it's The Amazing Spider-Man Hunted, and it's like I think a 13 comic book series, 13 or 14, and what it is essentially is I can't remember the villain's name. He's a Spider-Man villain who tries to hunt Spider-Man because he's like a trophy hunter, like a game hunter, wild game. And so in Spider-Man, in this comic book series, he invites all these villains to his mansion, and they've essentially put on what's like equivalent to Oculus, so that they're controlling an avatar on his island. But then what it turns out is that like they can't take them off, and if they die in like the virtual reality thing, then they die in real life. And he wants them to hunt Spider-Man, but then he like traps them in this bubble dome and all this stuff, and they can't take the thing off. So I know obviously it's kind of like sci-fi, but I mean the metaverse is sci-fi as well. So it's like, what if you're like, what if like your company, whatever, you sign a contract and it's like you need to keep the Oculus on for 8 hours, get your 8 hours of productivity, and like you cannot take this thing off for 8 hours, like for 8 hours out of the day, or else you're breaching contract or something like that. And it like literally like I don't know, creepy.
I mean, shit could go in any fucking way, and I could see like, barring like the thing like latching it to you, I could see them implementing a system where the only latches are the metaphorical ones, that being you're fucking tied to like money and your well-being. They could be like, if you take this shit off, then like breach contract, you're fucked. Like,
But then what if it's like it only activates and you can only start your day by locking it closed, and then a timer starts and you're just like, okay, I'm strapped in for 8 hours.
yeah, I can see that kind of being believable, where like you're technically the one putting it on yourself. Yeah, no, that'd be fucking weird. But then you gotta think like there'd probably be like, real life dangers don't go away, and people, at least for the time being, realize that. So it's like there's probably gonna be laws that like, you have to be able to take them off because it's a fire hazard. Like if there's a fire in your real house, you're gonna have to go, and like if someone dies like that, that's a shitload of money.
That doesn't matter because it's all gonna be about the metaverse. So if in real life you die, who cares? In the metaverse, if you die, that's a big deal.
Huge deal.
The metaverse, it's just a shield on your real life. You go in there and you live in there until you die in there, and then you come back and live the rest of your real life. Or you can just hop back into the metaverse and live again.
Upload your consciousness.
No thanks. Fuck all that. I like the real world enough. There's a lot I don't like about it. I like a lot about it. I'll stay here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, I'll segue into the dead internet theory.
I have nothing. I know
So
nothing
I don't think it'll be incredibly shocking, but I got this sent in like a group text from our Bulgarian correspondent Bobby, so I watched it. He usually finds some good
enigma.
stuff, but it's, I guess the entire premise is that basically the internet we have now is it's just not what it was. Like it's all pre-made, it's all fabricated, it's all controlled. And this guy talks, because back in the day, like you used to have to know the website to go to it. like even before like search engines, it's like
And you gotta type
www.
it in a black box and like.
Yeah, I remember that. Damn, I do remember that shit. I forgot that was a thing even.
So then search engines came along, which was okay at first because it was just there was no algorithm, I guess. It just whatever you typed in, it tried to find the closest match that it could, and there wasn't much like I don't know. There was probably actually an end to your search limits. Like you know how you search. There's probably an actual end if you scroll down, like page 2 or 3. It'd be like that's all the results. There you go. If it's none of those, if it's not that, it's none of these. So, but like the algorithm, and this is kind of why. So, if anybody's new, we used to do conspiracy theories a lot on our prior podcast, the Do You Believe podcast, DUIBpodcast@gmail.com. Email that. We probably won't check it though. But you used to be able to just Google all these conspiracies and a million things would pop up and you'd look at it. But now it's you Google it and it's just hundreds of news articles debunking
this conspiracy.
Well, and it's like also like a lot of I don't know. There's just like a lot of stuff like I don't know, like for instance, like okay, so like I try to like navigate. I just like to kind of understand, especially because I'm around a lot of people who like I guess are a lot more like I guess left. I don't even know what the right terms are anymore. I guess like more progressive minded, I guess, than me. Like much further progressive than I am. Like I've just been like, all right, I want to try to like kind of understand what the thought process about some things are. And, like there's a lot of people like I guess there's like I don't want to say a lot, but there's like a sphere of people out there that's like basically like if you're white, you are racist no matter what you do, no matter what at all. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start googling shit like, is it like okay, like is it okay to be racist to white people, shit like that, like whatever. Everything that comes up is just opinion pieces. It's like there's nothing like it's just like the same like few opinion pieces at the top, and then like that's it. It really is like you don't find like anything that's directly relevant. At least I don't find anything directly relevant to my search aside from just like people being like, well, if they're white, then like you know they can't take the joke or blah 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 or whatever. I'm like, and there is like a couple tiny grains of like things I can see on that side that make a little bit of sense from that side, but like if you're trying to fix fucking race stuff, I don't think like pushing the race out in any way is also the way to do it. But you know, whatever.
We need to have Bobby on to talk about. Oh, Max is gonna get. Dang it!
I think there's.
I'm here. I gotta go talk. I gotta go talk to someone. I'm here. And Lee, I'm sorry. I know you're in the middle of this explanation. Please carry on. I need to go like talk to someone real quick because this is getting out of hand. Just give me a sec.
Someone needs to watch their kid. Wait, wrong one. Okay, we're good for now. Anyway, Aaron, I was gonna say we gotta have I want to have Bobby on because like I know there's this. Basically, to sum it up, according to him, Europeans are racist as hell. way more than here, like just in general.
Is it like Europe as in like England and like the UK and stuff, or is it Europe as in like all over?
I was gonna say like as a whole.
Okay.
And maybe England's probably the best, but like other than and it's not just the funny part is it's always just like black and white is like the race thing or white and not white, but it's like real racism in Europe, it has nothing to do with like skin color. It's actually race. Like where are you from? Like
yeah.
Like I don't have any good examples, but like Ukrainians hate Russians.
I have a
and
real world,
you know.
If I may.
Go ahead.
So in college, I hung out with this guy, and like everyone in our group at like we at all once kind of figured out this guy was kind of a piece of shit. But like there was like one day where we were just like joking around, and like there was a bunch of like different people from different races in our group, so like all of us would just like make race jokes at each other. And I said something about being Italian, and then I was like, yeah, like I'm like, yeah, this is okay though, like I'm white. I said something, I'm white, and he's like, yo, you're not white. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, no, dude, like you're Italian, you're not white. And like he just got really serious all of a sudden. He's like, you're only Italian. He goes into this whole fucking diatribe. He's like, you're only white if you're pure Anglo-blooded, like blah 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 blah, like me and my family. I was like, okay, buddy, okay. And then like there was like a bunch of like stupid dumb shit that he did at first that kind of led up to this, but then that happened. I was like, okay, this guy's actually kind of like, I don't know about this. And he was pretty opinionated on some things too. So yeah.
That's weird. I don't think I've ever met or talked to like a legit racist. I'd be so confused.
It was, I mean,
But like, I think I think the main thing, like, why Europe is worse is just because, like, in America, we're just Americans. We're all from everywhere, and it's been that way forever. So we're just like, we don't really care. But in Europe, like, the countries themselves and the groups within those countries are very particular about who they like and who they don't like.
And it's a whole bunch of, I feel like part of it is like there are a whole bunch of smaller countries like almost crammed together, especially in some spots. There's just a whole bunch of countries in like one spot, and like that's probably got something to do. I mean, I don't know what all, like I'm sure there's probably some conflicts. I know like in certain parts around there, like it can get pretty like, a little bit dangerous or whatever, but like,
yeah. And I think it's also too, it's the part you're not going to see it in the news, and you're not going to see it if you're over there on doing tourist things. That's not where it's at. Like, it's in like the real world, basically. But irrelevant. I figured that was a good tangent since Max left, because I want to jump back to
the CEOs came into the office, they phased in.
They're like, dude, are you on that stream again?
My secretary keeps
We're
calling
ducking
me,
your
and
pay.
so I just, gotta tell her I'm trying to make money moves here, baby.
Money time.
So let's see. There's so many. The problem is there's so much. I'm trying to figure out where I want to start. Another thing is, like, articles. They'll either, if you Google like a trending topic, you will read the same exact thing on thousands of pages you go to. Like, it's all says the same thing. Or there's times where they'll just all reference each other, but nobody knows where the actual story came from.
There's no primary source, yeah.
Right. And that's another thing, too, is and the guy in the video I was watching just started talking about, I'm sure you've all heard about the story about this thing that happened there. And you want to know what happened? And he's like, nothing, because I just made it up. Like, people, like, just jump on. They're like, oh yeah, really? Oh, really? Like, nobody cares about like, and this is especially prevalent in like Facebook articles and stuff. I think my wife will go through them a lot and be like, oh, I read it on a Facebook story that this happened and that happened. I'm like, that sounds completely fake. It's probably fake. I think that's something we don't realize or would ever want to admit, is that a lot of stuff can be completely fabricated.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got all of these, like, it could just circle around in like some like tabloid type websites, but then eventually if it picks up enough steam, some of the big people start picking it up, and then it's just a giant. It's actually happened where it's like, oh, that was wrong. Oh, jeez.
Well, I mean, look at the Theranos. You know the Theranos deal, all that stuff.
And like,
it's company, and like the gist of it is like this young, like up and coming, like quote unquote like genius like lady, like she bamboozled, like I don't know all the people, but like there were a lot of like really rich people who put money into this thing. It was like a I think you could like test
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Thing. She faked it all, and she just kept collecting money and telling people that
it was $10 billion. I don't know if it was that much, but she made like, I think, yeah.
She got charged with 4 counts out of 11 counts of like criminal fraud and all sorts of shit. Like, something like that. I don't know all the terms, but she like it's just like nuts, and that's something where like even like a lot of famous people and a lot of rich people were like tricked by this. They're like, oh yeah, I'll put my money, I'll put my name on this, and then like it's fake, and she's in jail now. It's like, oh,
Yeah, I heard she was also supposed to be the first successful woman CEO, and she couldn't even do it. Right? No, I'm joking, but no, but also with that dead internet thing, something else. I mean, okay, so there's all these apps, right? That it seems like the internet used to sort of be used for, to gather information, get a product out there, and now it's almost like the internet is Facebook, Google, like that is what the internet is. Whereas before, you would have to go, you needed to know coding, and now it's all that coding is covered up with these really, like glossy looking UIs, and something with with these apps that add no real like value in a lot of ways. They might add, the value they add is very minimal to the damage that it can produce. And just a side note, and then I'll shut up here, but it's like with like Instagram, for instance, it could be that you'll see this I will see the same memes that someone in 3,000 miles away from me saw the same day. And I don't think that's good for culture. I think it's really dangerous. But anyways, I digress.
That a little bit, yeah, it's just like it kind of boils things down to a very, I don't know, just like everyone sees the same things and everyone's like in on the same thing, but that's like there's a whole lot of other stuff going on that you could like, I don't know, get into, or like I'm not big on like TikTok is one thing I'm not huge on at all. I kind of fucking really don't like TikTok.
I
don't
think Aaron's just
understand
a hipster.
I guess I'm a hipster or something. I do use Instagram. Is that a hipster thing? That's like the only thing.
It is. You take pictures of
Is
your
right.
food?
No, I put art on there.
Okay, that's fine.
TikTok is just Chinese propaganda.
Hey, I think that's just fear mongering also. A little bit. I don't know. I think China's in. I don't think it's any one specific country. I think there are a lot of very powerful people in different countries that are in on something together. So that's what I think.
TikTok's just, I don't know, just trash in general. Because when we had your like dad on for that one thing, like there's so many times like you'll come across just somebody said, I read the Bible myself and found it said this and it means that, and like everyone's like, oh really? Yeah, I believe that now. Like people can do that with all sorts of things. They can just come on, and I see it a lot. They just say shit.
I think TikTok
with nothing to back it up.
Just past Google as far as the most popular website.
Really?
Is that not owned by Google? I just kind of assumed it was owned.
No,
by
it's Chinese. That's what I'm saying. Oh. It really is Chinese propaganda.
Well, what's the propaganda? Like, I view it, when I see it, I just view it as really stupid, and also a place for like creeps, because there are a lot of like creeps on there. At least from what I've seen on YouTube, there's a lot of creeps on there that like are just weird. Like it's a space where there's a lot of like young people and a lot of old people. So it gets weird sometimes. I know that, but like aside from that and being really fucking stupid, I don't like. What is it doing? Is it?
It's not doing anything. It's sucking your life away.
No, they're banning. They're supposedly like allegedly banning conservative sites as soon as anytime they get any traffic, they just shut down conservative TikTok channels. I mean, you could also imagine, at least what I imagine is like if you're, again, kind of back to that idea of I'll see the same exact memes that someone 3,000 miles away sees. Sticking with that idea, if you're trying to like demonize a group or you're trying to promote a group of some sort, you just make, you can do it in a sneaky way where you're not directly saying these people are bad and these people are good, but like if you're, let's say for instance, you constantly are just showing white people in like the light that they're like total idiots, like you just find all the video clips of a white guy being a really dumb idiot and just kind of almost having mental breakdowns, then subconsciously everyone's going to start thinking, well, white people are just like crazy. and it could go in any direction.
That's it. Well, I mean, the direction I'm kind of taking it right now is almost like maybe it's, and this is just through my lens at least, like there's a bunch of people acting like a bunch of stupid fucking idiots on there. In my opinion, not all of them. There's, I guess, probably a couple people, but like a bunch of people acting like idiots. And then I start thinking, wow, this whole culture, this whole like place is just filled with just idiots. But really, it's just a fraction of the population.
Right. Or you could imagine, you know, if like something I always think of is I'll see this, you know, memes akin to the idea of, oh, you know, retirement age is 60. Well, they need to lower it to 30. I'm so tired already. And if
Oh.
everyone sees that, they're gonna be like, everybody thinks that. It's not just me. So yeah, something's wrong with how we're operating. Like, and if you know, if there's a meme where, you know, something like, or if there's a headline that shows maybe some celebrity who's regarded as a hard worker or something, and it says so and so just quit like the football team because they were fed up. It's like, if everyone sees that all the time at the same time, then everyone's gonna get this notion of, oh, like even the strongest people will just up and quit and throw in the towel, and that's totally okay because that's what I'm seeing. And so then it demotivates people. Nobody wants to work,
well,
and then like that country ultimately will fail because they're just not being productive, they're not driven, and it's just you basically make like a whole nation retarded in the snap of like a finger.
I have seen a lot of recently on that. A lot of articles, videos, and whatever praising like this guy told his boss to shove it and walked out, like that, like everywhere, like all these stories of people epically quitting their jobs because of the man or whatever. And so yeah, like if everybody's doing that, yeah.
I will say, like, there is a lot of people, at least like in the sphere of workers I am in, a lot of people that are like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people gripe about capitalism, which like it's its own thing. Like, I've got issues with capitalism, but I also like stuff about it too. Like, there's, I could say that about any fucking system humans make.
Right.
But like there are a lot of people like that, and there are a lot of like, there's people who have been fucking just like straight skipping and like not coming in, and like corporate can't or won't really do anything about it, and they're like fine, even though everyone else is like left fucking in the deep end. Like, for even though it might just be a day, even though it usually stretches out to be like 2 or 3, like it is kind of a thing, and like I think it's easier for people to do. I will say though, I think this has been something that's kind of been a trend in the, like, at least the momentum's been rolling since before TikTok. I think, like, I wouldn't at least put it past, you know, whatever powers that be to be like, okay, like, we're gonna make this happen from the inside out, but we're also gonna blame it on China through TikTok, like something like that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like people high up are like, hey, my buddy running TikTok over in China, like, calling from America real quick, I need you to like make everyone demotivated. You're gonna take the hit for it, but like in the end, like our joint goal is gonna be met. It's kind of what I think. I think again, it's just people high up in different countries with a lot of money and power that are in on it together. Because if you think about how much the internet has made the general populace come together on like singular memes and shit, it's like there's so many fewer super powerful rich people that like their sphere is way tinier, and probably, especially with the technology available at their hands, way more accessible to all of them. So they're all probably on their own. They probably have their own super special secret social media that like no one knows about. And it's just all these fucking super powerful people. That's what I think is kind of going on. I think all this shit, whenever it comes down to like blaming a specific country or a specific like group, I think there's a whole lot more going on than just like that.
That's always the goal. You should always be suspicious when they do that. Point out, you know, all your problems. This is the person. Like literally, literally.
That's not really what the memes are. I feel like you get if we're staying in this with this idea, like you got to look at what the memes are. They're all like promoting being lazy. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. These people are dumb, and like it's not like, oh, China's. What I'm trying to say is you just desensitize or like subliminally push specific ideas with memes that everyone sees, and I've been seeing just trends of, oh, pregnant men and like I'm sick of my job. Why am I working? I'm only 20 and I'm already burnt out. It's like, okay, that to me that's a very demoralizing message. Everyone's seeing it. My point is like that's just degrading work ethic in a large part, and if everybody is
works.
seeing that at the same time, then you get something like the Great Resignation, and you get people very not content with their life and like depressed, and then they're not motivated to work, and it's not like that's just bad for the person, that's bad for the whole country. And so like I would say it's probably Chinese propaganda because they want our country to be weak. They're trying to be number one. Like we are
Well,
their biggest threat. So
I think
it's not.
that right there is where I don't necessarily agree, because like you could go to China, and I bet if you, especially with how many people there are in China, if you just went there and just took the whole day and just were like, hey man, do you want America to fucking fall? Do you want us to like not work? I bet you every one of them, if not most of them, wouldn't give a shit. Like they probably wouldn't fucking care. Like
Yeah, no, it's not the
that-
people. I think
that's-
the people are. It's not the people. We're saying. I guess
it's-
he's saying China
Chinese
as the Chinese elites.
I could say like the Chinese elites, but again, that's equivalent to saying the American elites, as far as I'm concerned.
No,
Or
it's
Russia.
not really, dude. They operate very
Think so.
differently.
I
Bro,
don't
they
know.
operate
Like,
very differently. Trust me, they're
I mean,
they're
they
not the
operate-
same.
Well, no, I get that. I get that they operate differently. Like Russia operates differently than China. But like, if you think about like that's from what we're seeing. Like, if you think about it, these people are super fucking rich. I don't think like they obviously none of them want their shit to like fall. They don't want their like base power to fall. But they probably at this point have been like, hey, if we can just keep things rolling and keep like some chaos rolling through the world and keep the spotlight off of like us or like certain things that might be going on and keep it more focused on like a broader thing, then like we can keep getting away with shit. Like I feel like like I don't know if I'm explaining it very well.
I don't really understand that.
I think. Let me jump in here. I think.
Yes.
I don't know. Aaron's kind of taking like the new world order approach, where it's like all the elites are all part of the same gang, and the rest of it's just show. And then Max is kind of you're thinking, no, I do think the Chinese elites are at odds with other elites.
There's a degree of what you're saying that I understand. Like they all are in one big club, but at the same time, like they aren't all like in full sync together, man. Like they have their own individual motives to be buddy with these people. So like in China, I'm trying to say they operate very differently in the sense, and I guess if you want to keep like questioning all day, like yeah, maybe this is all propaganda too, but what I'm trying to get at is China isn't really of this like collective world idea. Like they're very nationalistic and they want to be strong and they want to be seen as a threat. And it's not even really up to those business owners that own TikTok, and like it's not up to Jack Ma to make the decision. It's up to Xi Jinping, and if he doesn't go with what Xi Jinping wants, then he disappears. And like we've seen that happen already. The dude's gone missing for like 2 months at a time randomly when he says something controversial. So like to some extent, yes, all these elites are talking to each other, but it's very, our mindsets are very different as countries, and I would argue the elites in those countries have very different mindsets as well. So they're not going to be in lockstep with each other the whole way through. Like there's going to come a point where they are at a crossroads and then they're going to butt heads.
Okay.
And so like I'm just trying to say, as a country, I'm convinced, I don't think it's propaganda. I am convinced that Xi Jinping and the country politicians want China to be the all-powerful, and they do see us as the biggest threat. So when I say like TikTok is Chinese propaganda, they could easily make Americans look like total retarded idiots. And then that's what everyone's view is of America. And then our own, like, then we look inward and think we're just so stupid, blah, blah, blah. And it's like degrading. And then that ultimately will make the whole country crumble because no one's going to be motivated. No one's going to want to work. And then we're just going to be easy pickings. And it's almost going to be like, we're going to be looking for someone else, like who's going to help us. We'll take the worst possible person even because it should be better than this anyways. And then that's when China's like, hey, I'm your friend. Let me help and step in. You get what I'm saying? And then that equals like world domination. And
Yeah, I'm following. I kind of agree to a point. I think like, I guess one point where I just get lost and like in all this is just like I fail to see the drive and the motivation for like any country at all to be like these specific ideals that we have need to be spread over here. Like I guess I just don't. I don't know. Like I get really, I don't know. I get lost in that bit, and I don't think that's really anything that like I'm gonna be able to get explained to like quickly, I suppose, because it will devolve into a whole bunch of like opinions and all sorts of shit. But I don't know. That's where I kind of get lost. But I do follow like kind of what you're saying though. Like I see that, and I do think that there's like merit to it.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't think China wants to push their ideals on us, and I'm kind of with you in that. I don't really think countries try to do that. At least not now. But I think it's.
I think this is when they do it the most.
They. I wouldn't say ideals. What I'll say is they want. I don't think China gives a shit if America like becomes like them. They just want us to crumble. Period.
That's what I'm trying to say. And how do you do that? You just constantly push this idea that like subliminally, like that America's stupid, like all the work you're working for nothing and blah blah blah.
And
then
I
it's
think
just demoralizing.
maybe
and
some
that's
of
when
the
they crumble.
maybe
Like,
some
what's
of
the-
the well, I was gonna say maybe part of the issue
Okay.
is it's not as obvious as Max is making it sound. Like putting out stuff that says, "Oh, America's stupid." Like you're not gonna see anything exactly like that. It's super subtle.
That's what I'm
It
saying.
is what he's trying to
It's
say.
subliminal. I'm saying, yeah.
What's the next step after like society crumbles then? Because,
Well, they
like,
don't care because they're on top.
There's also a lot of facets of society. Like I would argue that like if the general populace of America devolved and fucking like went into chaos, that would only strengthen at least like the physical armed abilities of the country, because then we could more openly have like weapons around to calm quote unquote the people down. So that's what I would think would happen if things devolved into chaos. Then it'd just be like lockdown mode, and then that's that.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
you know,
even.
like,
It's
know-
I don't. I don't think it's supposed to be like America collapses and then China walks in and takes over. I think it's America collapses and China doesn't give a shit. But that's what they wanted. They're like,
Like,
all right,
because
they're a
it's
mess.
like-
Perfect. Now we're on top. We can continue.
like, my bad. I keep talking over. My bad. Do you think it's almost like they're just trying to get like a leg up in the tier list?
Yeah.
Like,
No. Yeah. That's all it. They just want to be number
tier
one.
list?
They want to be S tier.
And I still fail to see like the appeal, I guess, of being like the best country in the world, quote unquote.
Dude,
Like,
because war is not going to be fought with bullets and artillery. It's going to be fought with
No,
like with
regardless-
this sort of
no,
thing.
I
It's
get
not
that.
like they're just going
Like-
to come in here and bomb us to make us weak. Like
No, I
they
get
can't
that.
do that. The whole world's
I'm
watching.
saying, regardless of like how you do it, whether it's subterfuge or whether it's all out like conflict, like I just fail to see like that's such a like unrewarding. And it's like, okay, we're the best country, we're the most powerful country in the world now.
I here's why you don't get it, because you're not one of them. I don't get it either.
Is it like they're just
Like-
narcissists with power?
Yeah, like when you have everything, power's the next thing you gotta acquire. We don't get it because we just want to get our next paycheck and
No,
survive.
it's also that they do. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of just going in circles, and I don't even know. Did we even like? Did we even? I feel like we've split so far off of. Did you finish the dead internet theory? I mean, we did.
No.
I can keep. I didn't. I don't even think we like got to that, which is why I'm like, okay.
All right, how about this?
All
All
right.
right.
Thing, but like,
We'll move off this topic. Save it for next week.
right.
Ponder this, and then bring your A game.
Okay.
To jump back to dead internet, you had said something along the lines of initially, the internet was to promote a product. And I would say the real internet was before that even existed. The internet today is completely monetized, basically. The entire point of the internet now is to keep your attention so that you see as many ads as possible and nothing else.
I mean, yeah, that is how a lot of most YouTubers do that, like go that route. And I guess that's demonetization, is when you don't have that ability to. Like,
Right. So original YouTube, nothing was monetized. Nobody cared. Like you just
That
made.
makes sense.
I want to make a video because I enjoy this and I want to share something funny or entertaining, or I want to share my thoughts with the world. Now it's nope, you're not allowed to do that because it's all about making money now. And if you want to make money, here are the things you're allowed to do. And it's basically you can almost take two approaches. Just go along with mainstream and say all the right things, do all the right woke things, do all that so you make money. I mean, actually, that's what you have to do. Because I'm going to say the other way you could go is take up, like, extremely opposite things just to gain negative, like, feedback. But that's not monetized, so I guess that's irrelevant. So, yeah, you have to, if you want to make money on the internet, if you want to get likes, if you want to get retweets, all of that, you have to say the right things. And everybody knows what the right things are.
I would argue that's true, but also to a point. Like, I think it depends on how you tackle it, because like, if you're like, I would say saying the right things and stuff, that's like appealing to a broad audience. I would say if you want to like go off and like be more opinionated in whatever direction, whether like, especially if it's controversial, you still can make money. It's
How?
going to be harder,
Yeah,
but you
right.
got to have a target. Like, you have to. It's probably going to be more work on yourself, and it's going to be more like you're going to have to target your audience. Like, there are ways to do that. I don't know everything about it, but like, it would be like more of a targeted thing. You'd probably have to put a different thought process on how you do it, but like, I would say it's doable. But you would have to jump through more
Far
hoops.
more difficult. And the point, like with all the algorithms and stuff in place, the only way people can find you is really by, like word of mouth. Hey, have you heard of this podcast? Because you're never going to find it randomly. It's designed that way. Like,
Now,
if you're
now
going
also-
against it, and if you type in, and that's why we can't find conspiracies now. When you type it in, it doesn't come up anymore. Now, if I go directly to a conspiracy website I know of, then I will see it.
yeah.
But nobody's gonna naturally
You're not
find
gonna
it.
Yeah, it's not the same reach and everything. I get that. I do have a question, because this is something, and this is, I guess, more of like just my own thought. But like, do you get the same results if you go from like, if you search Google or if you search Bing or Yahoo? Do you get the same results, or like, because I noticed like this totally flew by me, but like just like earlier this week, I was like, oh wow, everything I'm searching for is on Google. Like, no matter what, like default is always Google for my phone, so I only use Google. And then I guess that's when I just pose a question: are there differences to what you get based on where? And then I also like, I also remember Bing being a while back being kind of a punching bag. People being like, "Ooh, Bing, ha 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 ha, Bing, fuck Bing, it sucks." But, like, it's not nearly as good as Google. So like, I don't know if that's like,
So my
God,
thought is, now they do say that some people, like the people that are on the other side of things, say DuckDuckGo is supposed to be less like that, where you get more natural results. I've kind of not really seen much of a difference. The biggest problem, though, is Google's search algorithm, when we're not talking about controversial things, is way better than anything else, unfortunately.
well, that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
I could just type in, hey, how long does it take to boil an egg? And like, I don't even have to click on a site. It just has a little thing that pops up and says 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes. And it's like, oh, okay,
feel
thanks. None of the other ones can do that. So when you're looking for real things or non-controversial things, it's much better. So
Well-
why use anything else? Now, what I do is, like, I'll use Google for regular stuff. If I'm going controversial type things, I will use DuckDuckGo. But even then, like, it's hard to find anything anymore.
Well, true, but like, I would say that at least that's your start to like targeting your audience, is like DuckDuckGo, and like maybe finding similar places like that. Again, like, you'd probably have to look into like forums and stuff. Like, that's probably like the first like shovel of like the hole you dig into like finding your audience, if that makes sense.
Wait, so is the dead internet theory I'm still kind of murky as to what it is. Is it that
Dead internet theory,
now
to summarize, I guess I haven't really summarized this because I was trying to, I should have done that first, but it's one of the main things is, okay, well, first off, a stat 60% of internet traffic is bots. So remember that.
what is that
That's nuts.
real?
Yep. Unfortunately.
That's very interesting.
And it's just the main summary is pretty much all of what you see on the internet now is pushed by bots or corporate interests. Like there's no
Okay.
genuine original content anymore. It's gone. It's there. Like some people may do stuff, but no one's ever going to find it because of like algorithms, and they just bury it.
I think a large part of that would I would put the blame on like us, like the consumer, because we latched on to these couple of
Oh
monolith
yeah.
websites like YouTube and Google, gave them all the power because they did something really crazy good, and it just worked well. And we've almost like pigeonholed ourselves into these like corners of just using YouTube, Google, and whatever, Facebook. I mean, back to what you were saying, it used to be Newgrounds and Albino Black Sheep, but even those, it's like I heard about those websites through a friend that would go to that website, and nowadays it's yeah, I mean, I guess the internet's really just been relegated to becoming like a search engine and somewhere to go watch videos. That's about it.
Yeah, and all those results in videos are curated, basically.
I see. Okay. That's interesting.
And then, like, natural growth of, like, streamers and YouTubers and TikTokers is non-existent because of things. It's not whoever's the most popular. It's whoever's saying the right things, because they push the other people to the bottom, and you get ignored. So
I see.
So
And a lot
and
of
that's why we get this just giant blob of the same everything all the time, and it's so uninteresting.
And then it becomes very polarizing.
I was even the person video I was watching was talking about, like, there's a good chance, like, there's bots out there on Twitter, for example. If it knows that you like to argue, it will send bots to instigate you. That way you stay on Twitter, and that way you end up seeing more ads in the background.
I could see that being a very real thing.
Like, all the social media wants to do is keep your attention. It's not, hey, this is a place where people can share thoughts. A lot of things were initially, like Twitter was before it was monetized. Once they bring money in, then it's about keeping your attention.
So do you think eventually our job is just basically, I mean, our job kind of is in a way already, just to sift through ads and see which ones pique our interest the most and keep us, like, our eyes on there the longest? Like, I mean, in a way, that is what our job is to these corporations, because they're getting free labor from us, essentially. They understand how long, we stayed on a certain picture, how many times we watched, like, a little meme. And so they're really collecting all this data in the background of, okay, what's the most useful way to hook people, and which demographics does it hook?
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying. Who do you think? Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
And it also
interesting
helps it helps the elites too, because they can kind of control it too and point it in the direction they want it to go. They can suppress things that might threaten their existence or whatever. And then, like, this, a huge problem is it completely kills public discourse. Like, it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Because you
Yeah, I see
can't.
that.
And another part of the problem too is sometimes these social medias and search engines and algorithms and stuff can section you off into groups, basically, without you knowing it, where it's like,
Yep.
like when I open Google now on, like, my main account, it's always going to be the same stuff. Like, it's always couple articles about games, and then here's a couple right-wing news things, and then nothing else. And then I'm sure like a left person's gonna get the same stuff that they like, and you never see the other side.
Confirmation bias. Yeah.
And the only so you create, I mean, echo chambers, like
Yeah.
basically where you're just in with yourselves, and the only people that really come in there are people that are trying to start fights, and are probably bots, honestly. And that's all you see. So there's no actual discussion to be had. It's just echo chamber and antagonizing, and nothing in between.
Yeah, it's interesting because over break, like last week, you know, I was with a couple of my siblings, and they were talking about, I don't remember what they were talking about exactly, but they were like, oh, I watched something, like I watched this, or like I really like this one thing. I don't remember what exactly. It's something very mainstream, and I was like, oh, I don't like it because XYZ, and they were both like, man, you really just like to be like play devil's advocate and like play the other side. I was like, no, I'm just trying to like dissect what it actually is, like, and strip it down to its essence. I'm not just like eating it for like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just eating queso cheese and being like, this is queso cheese. I'm like, okay, there's food coloring in this to make it look like cheese. They put, you know, do you what I'm saying? You know, I'm trying to strip it down and see. I'm questioning it, and if you, it's like, now if you question stuff, it's like, oh, you're playing devil's advocate. It's like, no, I'm trying to think through like what the material is. That's what will make me know if I like it or not. I'm not just gonna say I like Squid Games because everyone said Squid Games is good. Like, you know what I mean?
I liked the show, by the way, but that twist ending I didn't like.
I haven't even seen it. I don't really want to see it, but it's kind of like, you know, people are like, oh man, did you like Spider-Man was so good, and I'm like, I don't want to go see Spider-Man because I don't like Disney and I don't agree with them and the social norms they're trying to push. Like, I don't like it. It's very abnormal. And then they're like, dude, but it's just like a movie. I'm like, no, but you're giving them power. And I don't want to go watch it because of that. They're like, you're being counter narrative. No, I don't agree with them, so I'm gonna like I'm gonna like vote with my dollar. That's what I'm trying to do. And if everyone thought like that and was more critical and actually stood on their principles, like, we wouldn't be in this mess that are whatever. I digress.
Yeah, I see it now, and it sucks because it ruins everything for me, but it's always like, yeah, how many things have we let slide through that we disagree with because either we like part of what it was, or everybody else tells you you're supposed to like this thing, or whatever. It's like,
yeah, it's the same idea for me as in my opinion, any business that pops up, especially in the tech sphere, whatever that service that app is providing to you, it's a front for data collection. That's all it is. So like, people are like, oh, you know, this app came out. It's like, yeah, but like, what behaviors are they testing out? Because that app and that user interface you're using, that's not their product. Their product is the data they're harvesting. So like, is it actually worth it? Like, are you learning something from it? Are you building a skill off of it? Or are you just seeing videos of puppies that you like? And if that's the case, like, why, like, it's not really value added, other than for the company that's collecting your data. And that's their actual business, is the data collection, not, you know, Instagram. You know, Instagram's business is not to share videos and connect to people. It's to like see what people like, and then they can sell it to companies, like, whatever.
That's why you always gotta squint your eyes at anything that's free.
Yeah.
If it's free, you're the product.
Right.
I don't know what about it. I would also say they're probably also making a buck on the side, like through Instagram and stuff. Like that might not be their main, like I do agree the data is the big bucks for them, but like, the, you know, all the people making money and like doing stuff, all the traffic on there, they're still probably obviously going to be making money off of that too. But
Well, through
yeah, but it's not gonna.
revenue,
But I do see exactly what you're saying.
I mean, how many times have you been on Instagram and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy the product that they're sponsored. That's the sponsored ad." Like, I've never done
I mean,
that.
But I'd be willing to think there's at least like 1 million people in this country that would buy that one thing.
I wonder.
Yeah,
I
perhaps.
remember one time I was like, I was looking for that. Okay. And I was just astounded that they actually advertised something I would be interested in. It was crazy. Usually it's just something that reminds me. It's like, oh yeah, I did want to get that. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I looked that up a week ago on my own, and now I'm getting 1 million ads for the same thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
with all that and oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
I'll just say internet's dead. That's it. Like,
That's interesting. I feel like, yeah, growing up, early 2000s, the internet was really like, it was like flourishing in a way that, it's unrecognizable today. And what's weird about it is like, it got phased out right in front of our eyes, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I used to go to these like, jibjab.com for like political humor. I would go on, like Albino Black Sheep, Rather Good, all these like funny websites to get like my dopamine levels up. And then I don't even know when it happened. It just like I stopped using those websites, and then it was just like Facebook, MySpace. Well, what you get what I'm saying? It was like these big box names that just kind of like overshadowed everything. And
I think
like,
they threw in the, because like going to those websites that you're talking about beforehand, you just go there to see funny shit. But then I think like Facebook, at least, you remember poking?
yeah.
They started introducing things that you liked. It's like, oh, somebody
It's like
poked me.
stupid
I
shit.
like
It's
that.
not like an advanced
Right,
thing.
yeah,
Or
and
like
it,
you press a button and then they see that I pressed a button. That's
but it
dumb.
got us. So then it was like,
Right.
did so and so poke me back? Then it's how many people commented on my thing? How many people liked my thing? How many? When we started focusing on that versus just I want to go see something funny.
Well,
And I think it's in that paired and that pairs with monetization. Monetization ruins everything. Like
I see what you're saying.
like Reddit's I can't go there anymore. It's just awful. Like, because there's money to be made and they want to keep that money being made, they suppress content, promote certain things, and blah 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 blah. Versus it was just completely random back in the day. You could just find what you're into and read stuff.
I will say, I think there's almost kind of like a boomerang effect that seems to be occurring right now, where like, and it still is money driven, but a lot of independent creators are trying to get off of like YouTube, and they're starting to promote their own website and stuff like that, which is cool. I like that. And they're, selling merchandise. That's like kind of the new buzzword with all these guys like, "Ooh, buy my merch." But I almost think that there's like kind of like a boomerang effect. It's not going to look the same as it ever did, but
We need to make websites great again. That's what we need to do.
I agree.
And I think it'll spread it out a little better. Because here's another annoying part. Like, if you go to YouTube, if you tell somebody, oh, I'm like conservative, they're like, okay, you watch Ben Shapiro, you watch Crowder, you watch, I don't know. That's basically it. And then
Russell
if
Brand, I mean, he's kind of like turning into a conservative spearhead in a way, like in people's opinion. I'm not saying I agree with that, but like, yeah.
And then if you're left, you watch, I don't know what, Young Turks.
The Young Turds.
Like, there's just a handful of ones that those are the things you watch and that's it.
Mhm.
Versus, like, there's so many other smaller channels that are fantastic and way better than any of those, really. But you're never gonna find them naturally. So I find them when friends suggest them and stuff like that. Like, I'll plug this channel so other people can watch it. Bobby stumbled across a channel called, oh, what is it? I think it's called Strange Middle East or Mysterious Middle East, that is just devoted to like myths and legends from the Middle East that we never hear because we're over here. We just, I don't know, we never see it. So that's a channel you're never going to find unsuggested. One, because it's dealing with kind of conspiracy type stuff, kind of mythical stuff, and it's just a small channel. So I found it that way, so that's nice. But yeah, with websites, I think it'll spread out. It'll just spread out the audience instead of half the country watches Crowder and half watches Young Turks. It's like 10% watch this, 15 that, 5% watch this. That, like it'll just be all over the place, which is better.
And honestly, something I've thought of before is I almost want to say that, in my opinion, it seems like they do that to simplify. Because, okay, with like big data stuff and just coding and programming, when you're trying to optimize things, categorization is like a way of doing that, right? I mean, I hate it when people go right. I just did it. But, you know, categorization is a method of identifying certain trends. I almost feel that the internet just, they realize, like, we can't, whoever we is, like, these marketing companies or whatever, they realized, oh man, like, this is too much information for us to crunch the numbers on, and we're not sophisticated enough, but we want to seem sophisticated. So, like, dumb it down, simplify everything so it makes, like, our categorization job a lot easier. And then when we present data, it's just more able to stick, and, like, it'll be more accurate because it's simplified. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Interesting.
To me, that's like a theory I've thought of, but I don't know. It's not very well thought out. I don't really know how accurate that is, but
Could be, yeah.
So I don't know if we want to segue into this, like, part of you know, maybe like popularizing these certain channels, I think has to do with celebrities. Like, celebrities latched onto Facebook and got a lot of likes, which made people want to get a lot of likes. And it just sort of reminded me of that movie, Don't Look Up. I don't know if we want to talk about that, if we want to move on, or if we want to stick to this.
Aaron, have you seen it or heard of it?
Never heard of it.
What's it on
Fucking garbage
Netflix?
movie. Yeah, I think I maybe watched like 40 minutes. I probably got about as far
You
as
made it further than me by 3 minutes.
I don't fuck with Netflix too much. I have for cuties.
Yeah. I
And
think
there you go. That's That's
we
good,
literally
but no,
got
just
it
standing on
back
principles.
to watch, because we canceled it too because of that. We got it back to watch The Witcher, and we're supposed to cancel it once we're done with that. I really just want to cancel all of it. I'd love to do that.
I don't even use. I use someone else's account, so I don't know.
All right.
Sabotaging.
There you go. You're draining from them. That's fine enough, I'd say.
So Don't Look Up is I think it's labeled as dark satire, dark comedy. I don't know.
It's labeled as like comedy, sci-fi, dark humor.
Oh, is it the one with the meteor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I saw like a ad for it, and it's got like a lot of big names in it, right?
Yeah. So I gave it an honest watch, and I thought it would be good from the start. Like, really. So this isn't, I didn't come into it with like a cynical view. I came in with like, oh, this will look good. Like, look at all these famous people. It can't be bad. Like, you know, I always expect, we're going to get some lecturing about stuff and society stuff. Okay. I'll tolerate a little bit if it's actually funny. And God, it's horrible.
Yeah, so I mean, when I jumped into it, it was on Lee's suggestion for content to talk about. So I sort of did have a bit of a bias going in, I'm not going to lie, but
I tried to mask my opinions on it when I told you to watch it because I didn't want to taint it.
But see, I didn't know what to expect. Like, all I saw was it's a movie about it's a comedy movie about a meteor that's going to destroy the Earth, and no one cares and no one's paying attention. So I automatically, like, I had a little bias, but I tried to go in with as little bias as possible. And I will say the movie, like, viewing it through a somewhat critical eye, it's trash and it's not funny. And people will be like, well, you're missing the mark. I'm not missing the mark. It's just they did not execute it well. And in fact, like, I think it's pitiful that they even tried to do what they did.
I just don't.
They're trying to be like meta.
Yeah. I didn't. If anybody can, maybe somebody that actually likes this movie can try and explain it to me. I think I debated this at like a get together at my parents' house because like I think my sister and my dad had watched it and thought it was good. I wonder if they were just saying that because they were supposed to think it was good. But I was trying to figure out like what are they trying to do? Where's the humor in it? Like I don't.
Yeah, they were trying. The humor in my opinion, where they were trying to make it funny is they were trying to make fun of society and how they. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. I was watching a podcast, and this guy was saying how they're trying to cancel the movie Elf because they call Will Ferrell special, so it's making fun of special people, even though it's not insinuated that he's retarded. Like that's what they're poking fun of, right? And he goes, look, first of all, that's not even what they're trying to do, really. And he's like, and also if you don't have like, well, now this is gonna sound bad as a follow up, but if you don't have like a villain to sort of make like fun of, or like a stereotype to make fun of, then everyone just would agree in a movie, right? So everyone would just agree, and then it wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah,
In my mind, they were in this movie Don't Look Up, they were trying to make like us the villain. So like they're making fun of society at large. But why I thought it was not funny and why they missed the mark is because they're like the same people, in my opinion, that propagated society to become how it is. They're trying to be the ones making fun of that society that they created. It's like that's not fair and that's not funny. Like in my opinion, it's very stupid.
Now, I'd say you'd also got to remember that like that side is also composed of like a shitload of people who, you know, at the end of the day are trying to like do their job and make their money. So like I would say that like, yeah, they're all part of the issue on that side, but at the same time, you know, maybe some actors or something, like, you know, maybe they're just like, you know, I did a role in this movie because it paid well, and then
right. There's always,
know,
there's definitely gonna be an element of that.
Yeah, but I do see what you're saying.
But they're like, there was this undertone of making fun of like, oh, people are too invested in politics, and like there was like this undertone of like people don't believe science, they don't believe, like they care too much about like getting headlines that are gonna grab the attention of people. It's like you guys are the ones that created that, so you can't really make fun of it. Like,
yeah, like I said, like if me and Max and you, I'll actually let Aaron be in and honest, made the movie, then it would be funny. So
but it's like the fact that it's like these A-list actors that are making fun
so
of it. It's like that's not funny, dude. You guys are stupid. Like,
I see what you're saying.
The scene that really was like, I'm like, I can't even anymore, was, and I don't think it's really a spoiler, but it was like a TMZ type talk show where it's Tyler Perry's like the host, and then Ariana Grande was a guest on. And so to preface it, the scientists that discovered the meteor were supposed to go on this show, and they're serious characters, supposedly. And they're going on this show to tell them that there's a meteor coming to kill everybody in 6 months or something like that. I don't know. So they're supposed to be on that show, but then prior to them coming on was Ariana Grande came on and was having this, like, she's trying to get back together with her boyfriend, her other famous person boyfriend.
Who was Kid Cudi. I was very disappointed, but because I love that guy. Go ahead.
And they're just like goofing off, like I guess they're trying to make it seem goofy, like, oh, we're so invested in Ariana Grande's relationship with Kid Cudi or whatever. And then the scientists are supposed to come on, and they're like, do they know what we're even going to talk about? That kind of thing. But that's the point. And it's like, look how ridiculous this is. Like, they have this goofy show on, and they don't even care about anything. And it's like, literally, these exact people, no offense to Kid Cudi, sorry, Max, would actually do a show like this. Like, they would do it, so it's not funny.
Ariana Grande goes on Jimmy Fallon and makes a vaccine song. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's like that should be a topic where you can have a conversation, and like, they do these stupid propaganda shows that goofy in real life with Jimmy Fallon, who's a total shill, and Ariana Grande, she's become like a complete shill, but then she's making fun of the fact that like she's a shill. It's like, dude, what? It's like, you can't do that. What are you like? Oh, it's frustrating to me because everyone's like, it's such a good movie. It's like you're proving their point, and they invented it, and they're making fun of you. What the hell? Like,
I feel like maybe so this might actually be a funny movie to those people, because maybe they're like, yeah, we know we do this dumbass shit, but we just do it because you watch it. right? And like it may be funny to them, like how look how dumb the people are that watch us, and then but from us, it's like you guys do this dumb shit and it's reality.
And we
This
try
isn't
to call
funny.
you out, but then you censor us. So like, what the hell, dude? That's what's really frustrating about it.
Okay, I see that. Okay.
And I don't know if it's because like they're trying to maybe like flip, like they're like, okay, we had we've made our money, we've had our time with like being ridiculous in people's face and convincing them that we're trying to be serious. Now it's time to like hold the mirror to their face because we're moving on to the next chapter of propaganda. I don't know, but like it's just like you guys created what you're making fun of, and like it's not funny. I don't know.
I couldn't find. Oh, there's nothing funny about it, and I'm trying to think of like so. I try and contrast it with like Idiocracy, right? It's roughly the same premise.
That
Not
was a good movie.
because I was like, what? Like all the plants were dying, right?
Yeah.
Because they
They were
crave
all-
electrolytes.
Plants love electrolytes. I think they say something like that.
So why does it? So and my point was, like when I think I was debating it with my dad, was why that movie is funny and the other one's not. One, I think the angle on that is Idiocracy is so far over the top, ridiculous, at least at the time, that it's
No.
like that it's funny. It's like it's a caricature of society's dumb. Maybe not this dumb, but it's funny because we're gonna say they're this dumb. Versus like, Don't Look Up. It's just like maybe like 1% exaggerated. Versus Idiocracy is like 200%
Yeah.
exaggerated. So it's like it's not funny because it's too close to reality.
Right.
So it's not
Well,
funny.
and going back to what you're saying, so that talk show part really bugged me as well. But one of the scene that was the most cringy to me was when they had that like TED Talk thing for the app. That was like, it tracks my happiness and it knows
yeah.
how I'm feeling. So it goes exactly back to what you were saying. They were trying to do this bit where they're making fun of like a TED Talk situation. Sam Hyde did that back in, what was it, like 2011? And it was hilarious because he's just a normal guy who's like making fun of this whole like patting yourself on the back. We're so intelligent, our big brains are like doing all this stuff, and look at us at a TED Talk, we're so smart. He did that whole bit way better, and then he got basically banned from the internet. So that's like why I was like, dude, this is frustrating because they're trying to do what Sam Hyde did in that one scene, and it like he executed it a million times better. Like it was man, that whole show was very annoying to me, or movie. I hated it, honestly.
I couldn't even finish it. I had to stop.
Same.
So, I didn't even watch any of it. I did see the trailer for it. I mean, the trailer looked promising enough to me, mostly because honestly, I saw Kid Cudi's name, and that was one thing I was like, shit, yeah. But I don't know. Like, it sounds like maybe it was a flop. Maybe I'll watch it. Probably won't. But I will say, like, a similar movie, I would say, and it's actually the one that I watched right before I saw the ad, was, oh, man, it's a mockumentary.
Borat.
No, hey, real quick question. He actually did troll George W. on that movie, right? Like, he trolled him in that movie, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, off that topic, I watched this movie, and it seems like it maybe has similar vibes. Like, there were some things I liked about it, but it was also some things I didn't. It's kind of like, in a sense, they were doing that thing where it's like making fun of society, but also like, like kind of calling certain like people out. Like, they didn't, in my opinion, didn't do a very good job at like poking fun all over the place, which I think you got to do.
Oh yeah.
It's still kind of funny and whatever, but I don't know. I mean, I get it. There's like some vibes to it where it's just like kind of bugged me a little bit, but it was pretty good. Like, one thing I wanted to mention earlier on the topic of this, when we were talking about like the metaverse and shit, is like throughout the whole thing, like one person they're interviewing is this dude who's like some tech CEO, And at the end, like everyone's giving their closing remarks and stuff, and they're like, "Well, what do you have to say to the camera?" He's like, "Well, really, I'm getting out of the metaverse right now." He's like, "I made this shit in 2016. We've been living this for 5 years." And he just like takes his glasses off and just disappears like he did into your background. It's like really funny on that part. And then that's why I like the parts of that movie I liked were
What was it? What's the movie?
I can't remember. Unfortunately, it was also on Netflix, so I guess I'm part of the fucking issue now.
Yeah.
But
Shame on you.
whatever. The part is,
No.
but let me look this up real quick.
Yeah, while you're doing that, oh, sorry, were you gonna say something, Lee?
I was thinking about and then I tried to. So my dad thought this was a Coen Brothers movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with their movies. Big Lebowski, Fargo,
Did they do
Raising
Airplane?
Arizona. They did not do Airplane. But
Well, I mean, I've seen Fargo. That movie's badass.
Oh yeah, I like
right.
that
So
one.
so Fargo is like, it's funny, but why? It's like it's so subtle, and it's hard to pick out why it's funny because it's not in your face funny. It's just, and all their movies are like this. It's like, why is this funny? I don't get it. And I feel like my dad thought they had done this movie, and I'm like, I don't think so. This is terrible. Like, so maybe they were trying to do that, where it's
They did a really piss poor job.
I know, and it's like you're not them. You can't write a movie that's. And I
Even
want
if it
to.
was them. They didn't do it well.
I need to watch these movies again to try and, because we've been discussing lately, like, basically what is comedy? Like, are things actually funny, or were we like trained to react to things and think they're funny?
It's
Through the
funny
advent of
in the moment.
sitcoms.
It's funny in the moment, like it's some joke that a fucking jester made about like the king that he was standing right next to. Like,
Mhm.
it's gonna be completely lost to everyone nowadays. But it might have been such a slapper that the king didn't decide to kill him for like committing treason.
But that's the whole point of the jester. It was supposed to be like a release valve, and
Yeah.
now the jester is like the same as the king in a way, and it's kind of like the whole. What's that guy's name? He had the Rat Pack. Is it Jerry Springer?
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer and the
No.
Rat.
I always remember all the other people except him, even though he's the biggest name.
That curly-headed fuck. You know who I'm talking about. He like lately a lot of and so I mean, here's another problem. He's like, this isn't. I didn't formulate this opinion. I've been watching stuff that kind of allowed me to see this. It's like he now is like, if you're unvaccinated, you're so evil and stuff. Whereas he used to like make fun of people with disabilities and stuff. It's like You
So
started-
let's back it. I'm sorry. The Rat Pack. I was thinking for whatever reason you were talking about the singer dude, the singing group from the.
Jackson 5.
No, what is his damn name? He's like the
I-
guy that sings like this. Da, da, da. Like they don't sing like that anymore, but oh my god,
Troubadour, like,
Fall Out Boy.
holy shit, you guys are killing me. I'm killing myself.
That 2021 is that movie about. There you go.
2021. Okay,
The
I'm gonna
Rat
check it out.
Pack is.
Stinky Cheese and the Boys.
Oh, Frank Sinatra. Jeez.
He was part of the
Could
Rat
not-
Pack.
Yeah, it was Frank
I was gonna say
Sinatra
Frank Sinatra.
No.
and
Yeah, but that doesn't sound.
yeah, there. But anyway, so Rat Pack. Are you talking about Seth Rogen?
No, I don't like. I think I know what you're talking
I'm
about.
talking
but
about the singing
wait,
group, the Rat Pack. I don't know
Dude,
what
no,
you're
I'm-
talking about.
Jerry Springer. Not Jerry Springer. Damn it, dude. Who's that curly-headed fuck who always hung out with
Jerry Lewis?
Oh wait, are you talking Andy Milonakis?
I'm very.
No,
What is
shit.
going
Dude,
on?
We're all over the place. He's that guy. Bro. Okay, this is like the only way I can describe this, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but in his show, he regularly had this like black guy who has like Down syndrome, and he'd be like, "I don't smoke weed," and he's like,
And who was
He's a
this
fu-
from?
he's like, "I thought you said you do smoke weed," and then he's like, "Well, sometimes I do." Like, it's like, how, dude? I'm just gonna. I know how to find it. Give me a sec. What?
Like, what years is this from?
It's like probably I don't even know. It was before my time. He's just known for really, really raunchy comedy. He had like a radio show. Um, give me a sec. It's the curly headed Howard Stern.
Oh, that guy.
Okay, god damn,
Yes.
dude. So,
Okay.
anyways, back on track here. What I'm trying to say is like this whole thing of like what I'm trying to get at is like Howard Stern started as raunchy and counter narrative, and that's what made him popular. And then he became the mainstream. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like that's what they were trying to do with this movie is like they realized people like poking fun of this stuff and like they realized that in my opinion like they probably were consciously like, oh, everybody just focuses on politics and really it's so stupid that they do that because there's other things that matter in life, so let's make fun of that. It's like, yeah, but you guys were the ones that made it that like you guys made it so, and now you're making fun of it. It's like they've become the leech that sucks from the fish and like gets its nutrient. They're like one and the same now. Like the symbiotic relationship is complete.
He's like the kid in the group that gets picked on. Then he starts picking on himself so that they'll like him more, maybe.
Yes. That's another good way to say it. I don't
Will-
know, dude. Fucking Jerry Springer. I don't know.
I want to be that one to throw them the bone and say, what if they are also trying to at least some of them maybe, because again, multiple parts, but like, what if some of them are just trying to like undo some of the damage they did and be like, listen, guys.
So that's a good point, and I was kind of having this conversation with one of my old roommates, and he was like, I had mentioned basically like, you know, politicians in Hollywood are kind of the ones who sort of forged the world that this movie was making fun of. So it's like, you know, Hollywood making fun of what they forged with politicians, and he's like, dude, I mean, I don't think Hollywood and politics are like in bed really. And I was like, dude, I think so. And he goes, maybe recently, but not. It's not like it's always been like that. I was like,
always
bro,
have
back
been.
to like McCarthyism.
Yeah.
Like there were communists inside of like Hollywood, and then you know, even like you look at Reagan in the 80s, he was an actor who turned politician. Like they've always and then I was like, and even just the fact that, you know, television was a government project through MK Ultra, like it's always been connected at the hip. And it kind of almost turns into that argument is like, how guilty is Hollywood for it's like, dude, they build culture. So like if our culture's acting in a certain way, I would say Hollywood is a large part to do with it, and they do it at the beckoning of politics.
No, and especially now that things are so like centralized, like we're talking about, like with memes and shit. Like same thing with movies and with other forms of media, they're passed around so quick that like, you know, the influence that, you know, I guess like, you know, you're gonna get people seeing the same things and being more drawn to the same like ideals and stuff that are getting presented by Hollywood and stuff. But it's just like more widespread and more easily
and accessible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just and so maybe kind of like to what you were saying, Aaron, maybe they are trying to, like, they realized, oh shit, like it's bad and we need to undo it. I'm more cynical than that. I think they like got the money that they could get out of it. They squeezed the tit dry, and now they're like, time to reshuffle. So like, let's just start creating another narrative. How do we do that? Well, we got to nip it at the bud what it currently is. So let's make fun of what it currently is, and then that'll start altering people's brains, and then we can start planting new seeds. I know that's very like esoteric, but that's kind of how I see it.
But I am like, I have a very like,
I don't know if esoteric's the right word, but
I have a sort of like nebulous like I understand kind of MK Ultra, but I also have like a nebulous way as far as like how I want to describe it. But that's kind of how I imagine it working. Is like, it's just like, you know, the mind control that they were like researching during that is like, how do we get people to like kind of be on the same page? How do we get people to change their opinions without like, you know, how many layers do we have to go away from just telling them to their face, hey, think like this? I see that. I see what you're saying.
And it's like, you know, you look at something like, just kind of like as a case study almost. Robert Malone is a scientist who's very well credited as, like, if not the creator of mRNA vaccines, like, he had a large part in the development, like, very large. And he tried to talk and say his piece while, like, politicians and celebrities, you cannot even deny, were pushing mRNA vaccines. And then the very creator of those vaccines was trying to speak his mind, and they banned him and canceled him.
Oh,
It's like,
I did hear a
You
tiny bit
can't
about
do that and then make fun of the fact that society does that. Like, you guys played a huge part in that. It's
Well-
so annoying. It's very frustrating to me.
It's so weird. They like shut down the actual scientists that made
Yeah.
stuff and then prop up Fauci instead, who's just like I don't know,
Total
a
propaganda.
wannabe.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about Fauci or this other guy for that matter, but I do know that, like, as far as I know, like, I don't know Fauci, don't know his background. Like, you know, you can tell me, like, he's done this or that, but, like, you know, again, like, none of us fucking know this guy. So, like, you know, I don't know. Like, I see that. That's fucked. Especially,
I know
like,
that he peddles lies to like make money. He's basically just a marketer.
Yeah, I
mean,
can't
he's-
think
he's
of the
not a
right word for
scientist.
him, but yeah, it's I don't know.
Weasel? I don't know.
I do remember hearing like a tiny blurb about that whole scientist like not being able, like, getting shut down, like, and trying to speak. But like, I don't know much, but that is like really like if I had, like if I had to have someone make a fucking like thing, like I would have them be the first to talk about it. But yeah, like, you know, there are a lot of, like, you know, granted it's all like I've seen like in fiction stuff, like there is like that whole trope of like there's the fucking scientist who's like forced to do the work, and then fucking like the person above them like just strong arms them into it because they're just like a little nerd. So like,
And that's what happened. That's exactly what happens in Don't Look Up. Like, these scientists are trying to tell the White House that shit's gonna hit the fan. They shoo them out and make fun of them, and then once they realize it's true, they like the FBI like kidnaps them and brings them back to the White House, and they're like, okay, we believe you now. It's like, what? Like, that's what actually happened, and you guys did that. Like, it was celebrity status that caused a bunch of this misinformation. It's not like these little cretins like us that are just trying to like have conversations. It's like the celebrities were like, you're spreading lies, cancel them, and then they get canceled, and then they like
What-
use the stuff they built, like, whatever.
what if they smell a like boomerang effect of sorts coming in where like they like maybe society is on its way to being mad at them for this said stuff, and then like there's just like when that happens is like them preempting it being like, well, hold on though, like remember this though, like we were kind of saying this before.
Yeah, it's very sneaky. No, it's not even very sneaky. It's just stupid. But yeah, I think that's part of it. It's like they're starting to feel the backlash, and they're like, oh, we got to show our cards because like it's festering to become out of control. Like, I don't know if that's what you're trying to say, but yes,
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I could get that. Like, you know, like they sense some form of like things coming back around to them, so they're just getting ready to like pad their fall, kind of.
yeah,
I
I
feel
agree.
that.
I think that's a part of it.
It could be, I'm like speculating. It's on the same mode of like, you know, throwing them that bone earlier. Like I'm mostly just speculating because I still don't have like a whole lot of. Yeah, I'm just making the discussion.
No, I mean, it to me, like, your response shows that me and Lee are like trying to. I think we're conveying our message pretty well. Like,
Yeah, if I can fucking grasp.
if you haven't no, I say because you haven't seen the movie, so like what you're saying is kind of, it's like in line with what we're trying to, at least what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I definitely feel that. Shit.
Yeah, I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna let
Oh,
you
no
guys do.
I mean, I don't have anything like weighty to say, but like, well, whenever we're ready to like de-escalate to like less serious shit, I got stuff. But
We can
I'm down to keep
de-escalate. We're at what are we at? Hour 48, so we're getting
Yeah,
close
ready.
to landing time. So,
Yeah.
what do you got?
So I got into this game lately, and I've actually beaten it. It's not the longest game in the world, but man, is it fun! It's called Carrion, and it is so cool. You're this like. You ever watch The Thing? I guess is probably the closest thing I can imagine it to.
Yeah,
Ever watch
The
it?
Thing.
Yeah.
the old one.
Yeah, well,
Like
I mean,
black and
either,
white,
I
right?
suppose, but the old one is the best one, I think, like the 1982 version.
Yeah.
So, alright, so you play as this experiment, and you, like, it starts out, you're in this fucking experiment jar, you bust out of it, and you're just this, like, gross, bloody tentacle worm monster thing with a bunch of eyeballs and like spiky teeth mouth, and you're just trying to escape this fucking place. It's like a reverse horror game. You're the monster, and like you eat people, and the more people you eat, like the bigger you get, and you get like different abilities and stuff as you go. But it's like so cool because like you're like crawling around on the ceiling, or you're like you're like fucking like yoinking people up with your tentacles, and there's like different ways you can attack like the situation. Like there might be like you can like just burst through a bunch of doors and kill everyone real quick, or you can like sneak through the vents and like grab them. It's like really cool art style. It's just a really neat game. It's cool.
What's it
That's
called?
all.
The Carrion?
Like no carrion, like
Oh, Carrion. Okay.
Bro is a-
Oh, I thought it was like the carrying, like when you're playing Death.
no,
Stranding.
yeah, no, it's like
That's the game. I was trying to make that joke, but I couldn't think of the game.
It's carrying around a backpack.
Or like, I don't know, did Donkey call it FedEx Simulator? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Dude, his last video that he put out, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I watched it today. It was video game acting.
Yeah.
So,
to get back.
the NBA clips he had, they're like, "Oh, dude, oh man, why are you talking to me like that?" Come on, dude. Like, "Oh man, you can't say that to me." And then there's like one guy who overreacts. He's like, "Yo, I don't take charge from anybody." And then the other guy's like, "Oh man, you need to calm down."
That's funny. Oh man, I should watch that.
That's
I
a good
haven't
one.
watched Donkey for a number of years, and like it's not
What?
that I've lost. Well, part of it is just like I haven't been watching as much YouTube, and like when I want to watch
Well, that's probably
like
good.
Donkey, I want to sit down and just like watch it, and like just like enjoy the Donkey. But like usually if I've got YouTube on, it's mostly just like background shit while I'm doing other stuff.
I was a little disappointed because December was supposed to be Donkey Kong December, and he was gonna put out a Donkey Kong video every day. I don't think he did that.
Oh no.
I think he just like trolled for a second. That's fine by me though. This is a Donkey movie.
He's a legend, dude.
I love Donkey. I mean,
But
man,
H-
one guy. There you go.
H3 has fallen off. I was just gonna say H3 has fallen off so hard, dude. He's like been making fun of Joe Rogan lately, and he's just like, it's like, dude, everybody's been just ragging on him, like, dude, he's such an idiot.
Well, I think that maybe I don't know. Like Ethan seems like he's very, and doesn't mean too much coming from me because I feel like I'm mostly emotionally driven. But like he seems like a very emotionally driven dude when he just talks in public and stuff.
He's got too
and
much
like
estrogen
Joe
in
Rogan,
him.
like he just thinks he's gonna try to start some beef with Joe Rogan. Like
I wonder if he's doing that because he realizes he's losing audience, so he's trying to
Yeah.
become a buzzword,
Oh.
and it
Prob-
worked.
well, or what if Susan needs a fucking mouthpiece to counteract fucking Joe Rogan, and Ethan's just
Her pet. Dude, there was this article that was like, Joe Rogan fans are making fun of H3H or Ethan Klein, who's a Jew. It's like,
Ah, there we go. Yep.
literally, that's what it says. I was like, oh, what?
I hate that wording. Ah man, that is so like that has nothing to do with it at all.
That happens
At
all the time, and I always click the article to see if they actually have any, like, how they mentally gymnastic their way to that, and they never do. They never say anything about it.
Just the headline.
No.
They're just
nothing.
like, they were
have
mean to
no-
the sky, and that's it. But
they have
because he's a
no
Jew.
tweets to show that it was like anti-Semitic. They have nothing to show. They're just like, he's a Jew, and people are making fun of him. It's like, why did you like what? You're making? Are you making fun of the fact that he's Jewish? Like, well, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
Like, if you were to bring up like this person is blank, then you just be people are like, wow, okay, you didn't need to point that out. That's pretty fucking rude. It's like, so why can you just do that for now? Well, because it just helps make people mad and helps gain Ethan some favor in this.
also, on a more, I guess you could say serious note, although I think it is kind of serious in my head. Another one of those Snapchat stories I saw. There's like this channel that I saw. It was titled, "I kissed him at a party and he didn't know I was trans." So I was like, okay, let me just watch this. And it's this guy who looks like a girl. You know, it's a guy who's like pretending to be a girl, and he goes, so I was at a party, and there was a guy there. So like when it's a trans. I don't even know how to say it. They look like a girl, but it's a guy. I would say it's a guy, but everyone else will say it's a girl. But like, and this person is like, I was at a party and there was a guy there that I really was attracted to. So he took me to another room and we started making out. And then he goes like, but, and I'm a trans person, but he doesn't need to know that. That's not like, I don't need to tell him that. Is basically what this person's trying to say is like, if you're trans, you don't have to tell people that you're trans. Is that sexual abuse to trick someone like that? Because I think that is.
I mean, I would.
You
think
should know what you're signing up for, and if they don't disclose that, that's sexual abuse.
I know.
think.
I do. I would say so. I mean, like, if you.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
not
yeah,
right, dude.
I would say like there's something that's got to be like equivalent to that. That's what I'm trying to.
There
think.
is. That's it. And my other example is like AIDS patient 0. I can't remember his name. He would sleep with guys. You can look this up. He would sleep with guys, and then after he slept with them, he would say, "I have gay cancer, and I'm going to die, and now so are you."
There was also another guy like that, and then there's actually a whole interrogation where there's a police interrogation I watched on a guy that did that exact same thing, and that is a thing that happens.
It's not illegal though, in some states. California, it's not illegal.
What, to not disclose the sexual stuff, like the STDs?
Don't have to do that
Correct.
anymore.
You don't have to do it.
California's always fucked. I mean, honestly, like, if I had
California's always fucked.
California's always fucked, okay? I'm sorry, it just is. There's a reason people are, like, leaving and shit.
But there's a saying that goes like, what is it? Like, culture starts from the east and spreads out, and morals start from the west and spread out. So, like, yes, California's fucked, but that influences everyone else.
No, I get that, but, like, but my thing here is, like, one of the big distinctions is that, like, this is why I would that as equivalent as to, like, a trans dude not telling you whoever is, like, trans fucking, if you kiss a trans person and don't know it or do know it, like, you're not getting anything, like you kissed a trans person.
What if it caused, like, emotional distress? So
Yeah, because it's like you
that's
didn't.
something that I would say is valid. If there was like because there are plenty of times where like people, you know, like a dude and a woman will, like, you know, they'll do something together, and, you know, the woman regrets it, and then, like, the guy gets a bunch of flack just because she regrets it. Now, I'm not talking about actual, like, allegations where, like, shit.
Right.
That's
Right. Well, that's another part of it, is it downplays all that, but go ahead.
Well, that's also true. But like, you know, that causing her if that causes someone emotional damage, like, yeah, if that's not your orientation, and that person told you, and that, like, you know, like, they didn't tell you, and then they kissed you, like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. And, like, I would say, you know, if you make, you know, a thing about it, like, if you say something about it, you're in every right to say that. And, like, yeah,
I would
think,
say
like,
that's a sexual assault right there.
By today's standards, absolutely.
Yes,
for
yes,
sure.
that's what I'm thinking.
If we're gonna say getting groped in the metaverse is emotionally damaging, then this definitely
That
is.
definitely counts then, for sure.
But it's
yeah.
but the fact that they're an oppressed group, it'll never, like, hit the surface like that. You know what I'm saying? In fact, like, I'll be demonized for saying something like that.
Yeah.
That's what's so messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
That's the
feel
fun
that.
part.
But at the same time, you do gotta, like, I do know, like, people were, like, some of the people I work with, again, a lot of them are, like, progressive, but if that happened to me, and I came to a bunch, like, I would say most of them, if not at least all the ones, again, this is just the people where I work, but, if I came to them and told them that, they would probably be like, yeah, that's fucked up. They shouldn't have done that. Like, because there are a lot of them out there that don't agree with that. And again,
Okay,
like,
but no offense, that's the problem with progressive mindset. Is it, like, it has no foundation of standing. It's like it's flip flops so quickly.
yeah. Well, yeah.
So it's like, pick your side. Like, should you bend over for these people, or should you,
Well,
like, talk to them in a true light? Like,
I do think that part of this is all shaking out of, like, everyone getting, like, everyone's, like, collective conscious getting smashed together with the internet becoming, like, so widespread and, like, exploding so quickly. I think that this is part of it. Like, we haven't had time to fucking process all these different points of views coming together. Because like before all this like stuff on like trans and stuff really started coming up to the surface and stuff, like the way I would see it is like there were a bunch of people around, so there probably the same amount of people that thought they were trans or that think they're trans now like existed then. It's just they didn't have the ability to like connect through the internet and talk. And this goes for like, you know, every like, you know, most groups I would say. But like then like them getting more of a voice on top of the voices that already like existed more, as well as the other voices that like arose from this. Like I think that this like I do think there is call for like a different like set of like social rules because more things are in play, but also like you need to fucking use like sanity and reason just as much, because there are people on both sides, but I do see it a lot on, you know, the very progressive side too, where like people just fucking go over the top, and it's like you gotta make room, but you also gotta fucking like give some room too. Like it's just the whole.
But that's the problem. If the consensus of that community is you don't need to tell anybody because that'd be infringing on my like you can't even.
Well, and that's not
that.
the consensus of the community. That's just a post you saw, and like I'm sure like they probably have friends that they talk to who are also trans who are like, hey, you probably shouldn't fucking do that. That's wrong. Like there have been like there's also like stuff on YouTube. I've seen some situations where like it's not the exact same. Like I don't think people were trans, but they were part of like, you know, I think the LGBT community, and like they fucked up, and there are other friends, like there are other people on YouTube who are like, hey, like, you know, part of that same community, and they're like, hey, you know, maybe fucking hold the fucking ropes a bit. I guess if that makes sense. But I mean, I don't know. It's just like I don't take it as a. I guess for me, I just don't take that as like it's a complete consensus, because you just got to talk on a more individual basis to people to get more, I guess, of a grasp, I guess. But I mean, not to say it doesn't exist.
But you'll never. But I guess okay, I see what you're saying. But you'll never see an article that says you should have a conversation if this is right or not. It'll just, and you'll never see like the opposite of that video that I saw. It's always going to be that type of video. Like you don't have to tell them. So like, no offense, but I don't care what individuals say, because if the thing being pushed constantly is like that one side, like that's it. There's really nothing else to say, in my opinion. I don't know. It's like I get what you're saying, but that's not how it works.
I see what you're saying too. No, I mean, at that point, you know, I think it's also more of a. I mean, like, again, that's why I just fucking don't support like movements as a whole, like any fucking movement. It's just like I feel like yeah, it can be important to get like ideals around, but like you just create more like division, really. Like,
Actually, I don't really like that. Get ideals around. Like, I don't know. I don't like that mindset where it's like these are my ideals I hold to, and I'm gonna spread them to everyone. Like, you shouldn't be thinking like that. You should be thinking, well, these are my kind of beliefs and ideas, and I'd like to converse with somebody else that has different ones, and maybe I'll change, and maybe they'll change. Versus this weird, like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, like for like I would say societal like for societal things, yeah, I think it is important to get some ideals spread around. Like I don't know. I mean, like I do think like, you know, like I think racism is definitely, you know, it is a prevalent thing for sure, but like, you know, it's not as bad as it was back when like Martin Luther King was, you know, doing his stuff. Like we have come, like we're not running around like burning people in the streets and shit. So, but like, you know, all to say that like we came from a place where that was a thing at one point, and I'm sure there are ripple effects that have gone unnoticed from that time. Like again, like I guess one example, I may have brought this up in the past on here. I don't remember. I think there's a town in Michigan. I want to say it's Michigan. There's a town, and it's very black prevalent. I think it's almost completely like African American, and it's always been that way. Back when racism was like really fucking bad, it was a very like booming town of like it was like, you know, a booming business town for black people, and there were a lot of like successful businesses, and then like, you know, a bunch of racist people came through and like kind of just like busted it up, kind of like the riots that we were talking about. They fucking busted their fucking shit up, and like they like from that point on, like they didn't have the money to come back from that, and that society has just kind of crumbled since then. And like that's something where like, yeah, that's a ripple effect that is directly rooted in racism, and that's also like a system in that like, or a point where it's like, you know, I think a bit of a rule could be made where like some tax money could be gone to go for that, like to like rebuilding that population, or not the population, but rebuilding that location up with tax money. And like some people might not like that, but like I don't like the fact that like my tax money goes to fucking weapons of war, but it fucking does. So like, I don't know. At least we're not killing people doing that. That's kind of my point, I guess. I kind of went off on a huge tangent. My bad.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
see,
I
but
don't know
that's
what to
the
say
like
about that.
you. I don't know.
My bad. I went kind of a lot of.
No, you're.
I think I don't know.
It went from equality to equity. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean,
I do think
it never stops. Like it's stupid. It's like,
And it's
Well,
okay,
when
we
it
have
comes to
equality, and in fact now, like if you want to talk like gender equality stuff, it's like, dude, no offense, but like women will still toot that horn that like they're oppressed. It's like, dog, more women are going to college than men now. Like women are getting paid more. Like I've seen it firsthand. Like women younger than me are landing these jobs that like, whether they're qualified or not, it's like they were a shoo-in just because they're a woman. And it's like, okay, like is that justified? I don't think so.
and here's my issue with like all of these like I don't know what you want to call them, like just ideas of like what you were talking about, Aaron, and stuff like that. Is like it's far too, I wouldn't say it's too complex, but it's far more complex than people present it. Like if you say, oh well, historically like this town got burnt down by a bunch of racists and therefore that had ripple effects that affected the future generations, then it's like, okay, well, if you want to fix it, there's so many questions that go into it. It's like, why do my tax dollars have to go to that? I didn't do it. My ancestors didn't do it. And then it's like, why does that person get those funds? Their relatives weren't related to that. How are you going to hash out who gets it, who doesn't? And then if you set the standard of, okay, if bad things happened to you in the past, they probably affected you in the future, so you should get stuff from that. So does that get to apply to everybody now?
Yeah, because
or is it just one group?
For like Irish rights, like
yeah, like
I'm Irish. Why?
So it's a logistical nightmare.
it might be a logistical nightmare, but like I don't know. I feel like at least it would put an end to that fucking like.
No, it wouldn't, because it would lead to the next thing, next person with their hand out. Like that's the.
Yeah, like again, like we're Irish, so where's my money? Irish got so discriminated against. No one cares. Like. Sicilians, they got discriminated against. Like nobody cares. It's like,
well,
it's like what's the hot color to play?
Like,
I don't know.
I don't know like all the like mental logistics that like people might draw with this, but like I would say that like that stuff largely didn't occur on American soil, and
with Irish people.
Oh, it sure
no,
did.
I know it did, but like. Okay, go.
They couldn't, dude. It was like Irish need not apply. Like people hated the Irish. Like,
yeah, there was
very
like
severe degree.
That's the one
spit in
thing.
the
Like,
face.
yeah, you always go to like slavery racism, but like racism when people started immigrating to America is ridiculous. Even not like just among like Italians could hate Germans and they're racist against each other. Like it's just everybody hated each other. Actual racism.
And it's
everywhere.
like, and if you look at today, I would say it's like, no matter what your color is, so like the middle class in general is just struggling. It's not, and doesn't care about the color. It's like there's like super rich and super poor. It doesn't matter what color you are.
I do think money is like a giant part of like these issues as a whole. Now I will say like as far as like the money going into that, like into like any place, I wouldn't say like give it to specific people, but like for the physical damage of the property done, like I'm sure there's stuff that can be built up in that community not like handed out like you get like this much, you get this much. It's like this infrastructure was fucked for even like disregard why or who did it. It's like this was fucked up, and you guys are like you've left in the dust a bit because of this. We'll just like build at least the infrastructure up, like because there's no clear cut way.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Like the place in Michigan or like Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, I agree with that. It's like if buildings that they set up were damaged, I mean, then there should be an insurance company that pays for that or something, like in full.
But if you're doing
But it
that,
shouldn't be like, oh, white people, you guys now owe us.
Well, no,
everything.
and it's not even like oh white people. It's like oh taxpayers as a whole. Like this country is full of, like you guys said before, all sorts of people. We're like this term is definitely fallen to the wayside, which I don't know why, because we're supposed to be a melting pot nowadays. But like we're supposed to be the melting pot of the world.
we are.
So like,
Don't let anyone tell you different.
what's that?
We are. Don't let anyone tell you different.
Yeah, but like everyone, I mean, like I agree. Like we got a shitload of people in this country of all different like backgrounds, but like that's all they say. Like all our money gets fucking pooled in one spot. No one knows where the fuck the money goes to. So like if we can actually get something, like even if it is like in a place that's mostly of any single races, like if we can get something built back up from the bottom up a little bit, and at least like alleviate some of that shit, like yeah, okay, like why the fuck not?
So
But
I think
so why doesn't Nancy Pelosi and like AOC and all these like mega $100 millionaires, like Nancy Pelosi is so rich through insider trading and dirty deals, like, and then she preaches all this stuff. Like, why doesn't she give stuff from her own pocket? Like, I don't have the ability to do that. Yeah, okay, I pay taxes.
That's where I disagree. You have the ability to. I do. Lee does. The people listening, the people that aren't listening, like they do. Like we have the ability to fucking do something. It's like for me, it's like,
But taxpayer, I mean, that is our ability right now, as it stands right now. Like, my contribution is taxes, but like that ends up going to Nancy Pelosi's pocket. So like,
you can do something from the ground up, and this gets shit on from all angles at this point of view. But like, I'm a huge believer. Like, if you want to get something done, it has to be like from the ground up. You don't got to go through red tape. You don't got to go through like voting or whatever. It's like just like fucking put your money to something that you're going to directly see. Now you have that ability. I have that ability. It's not to as great a degree as like Nancy Pelosi or like Trump or Obama or any.
Until we get to that point. But yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like yeah, we can do that. One of the last fucking things I saw on Facebook ever is some chick was like, oh, I wanna like go to a place that basically described like Hooters and like the negative aspects and how like women feel about it. And like we're like, but like we bring it and we bring men there and they feel uncomfortable but act like they want to go blah blah blah. And it's like my first thought was like, well, you can fucking do that. Like you can make it. There's a market out there for like a Hooter with like hot dudes in it. So like fucking do it. Like you can do it. Like you can like we can make these changes happen. It's not going to be grand scale really, but like it's one brick at a time. Kind of always been like that.
So, like, back to your, like, rebuild the place that was destroyed. I feel like your argument makes a little bit more sense if it happened recently. Like, this happened last year, let's rebuild it. It makes a lot more sense because they're still there and suffering from what happened, so let's use the tax dollars to rebuild it. Because then you're saying, hey, in America, we don't tear shit down and destroy people's shit, all right? And then you build it back up. But when you're calling back to something that I'm not sure when that happened, I'm like 60s or 70s, I'm guessing. Like it's pointless to do it now. Like that's where it becomes a logistical nightmare, where it's like the people that were there probably aren't even there anymore. Who knows where they are? And you can't just throw it on a group or even just like a community, because then you've got a community of people that had nothing to do with it, weren't even born yet, that are now getting their town rebuilt for whatever reason. Like that they don't care. So it has no impact on anything that happened. It didn't help anyone that was impacted by it. But if it's something that happens recently, if you set the standard of if people destroy shit, the government's going to pay and build it back. I don't think a lot of people would disagree with that, unless you're just going to say like you were saying, that's our job, not the government's job.
I mean, I guess I kind of did end up saying that, but at the same time, part of the government's job is to fucking like kind of keep us fucking protected and well, right? Like, is that not part of it? I would say.
Protected for sure. Well off, I would disagree with that. It's not their job to make sure we're well off. They want to make it seem like that's their job,
not
but
well.
then it's like it's just a scheme to skim.
Not well off, but like like, you know, we're not in a state of disrepair and we're not in a state of like chaos. Like that's what they're supposed to do. Like we're like that's why we have a government, is to keep order and to keep shit in line like that. And like knocking shit over and busting shit up is like, and just leaving a fucking mess and then just letting it stay like that. Like you're not building shit back up. You're not keeping shit, again, keep any like take like any other like emotions or any shit out of it. Like they're supposed to keep shit in line.
I think you can really only do that on a personal level. Like in my head, what I just heard you say is like, it's the government's job to build individual character, and like it's not, and it's impossible.
I'm not talking about character. I'm talking about like just like infrastructure and stuff. Like I feel like that is something that should have been taken care of a long time ago, and like you know, regardless of what happens, like, you know, something should be done at least in lieu of nothing having been done beforehand. That's why there is so much fucking discourse, and that's why there is such a mess, is because like it's kind of scars that are deeply rooted that like, you know, not everyone is gonna understand like all the time.
Right.
So like it's like something, I do think that it's a thing. It's like nothing was done before. Something should be done, and like, you know, that I guess that's where it is.
But like, and I know this sounds insensitive, but like, wouldn't it, like, I would not advocate to go like burn down a town of like infrastructure. Like that's awful. Like that you're taking away something that people built up and like spent their whole life savings and whatever. At the same time though, like, if your building gets destroyed, like you should have had insurance on that building for that situation. I don't know. I mean,
riots that have been happening recently, like they got their shit busted up. Like they should have had insurance for that.
I agreed, but also it shouldn't be politicians like being like, yeah, that's okay to do that. And it seems like that's what happened like last year or whenever it was during like the protests / riots, is like they were egging it on and saying like, yeah, it's okay because it's justified because they were harmed in the past. And it's like, well, they're just
it's like well, now you're destroying somebody else. You're just perpetuating the stuff.
See, I mean, I haven't like read into anything, but the way I see it is, it's not so much like you're an oppressed group, so we're gonna let this slide. It's there's a fucking massive group of people here, and if we, you know, unless we like fucking open fire and start killing people, like we're not gonna be able to stop them. Because I know they use like non-lethal force, like that was a thing, but like it didn't stop them. And it's like the next step is like running in there and starting to fucking beat shit up and like go full scale, like, you know.
But at
that point you've truly lost control there, and I don't think that they're trying.
But there are accounts that I've heard where people were burning buildings down during like riots and protests.
Is this on the dead?
What?
Is this through the dead internet though? Because like, that's what I'm saying. Like we are seeing all of this through the fucking American...
Right. But my point is, like, apparently there were politicians that had funds to like bail them out so they could just go back to the streets and do it some more. So it's like, it is, I don't know, it's complicated.
Well, my thing is,
get anywhere with this conversation.
Would you? Well, so your policy of building back the things that were destroyed, in my mind, that has to apply to everybody. It can't apply to one group only. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't have to be just one group. Like you can start with that.
It shouldn't even be about a group. It's like, if so, you rebuild that town because it got destroyed by maniacs. You spend tax dollars to rebuild Kenosha because it was burned down by maniacs. It doesn't matter what side you're on, who you are, what group you're in. It's irrelevant.
But that I feel that, but this seems like a good spot to start that whole thing because the wounds are so like it's just such a mess with it all concerned. Now, at least this is, in my opinion, some sort of positive movement or at least attempt to alleviate it. And I would say the most angry people about this kind of stuff are like the progressive side of they're probably more angry than the left side about any of this stuff. And if you can calm them down a bit and do this and then kind of make that keep rolling, you know, then not only are you building places back up, you're also building places back up that, you know, whether it's just perceived or whether like, you know, like whatever, like it's, you know, you're still healing some scars a little bit while you're doing it, and then you can just like keep rolling with it. Because I'm like the way things catch nowadays, like I'm sure people would see, oh, this is a positive thing that happened. There's positive results from it. Let's like have this happen in our town over here. Like this place fucking sucks. Maybe if there's like a poverty level or something that has been static and below a certain line for however long, then you can like target that for like, all right, this year tax money's going towards fixing this entire town up, and like we can make one less nuke. Like it just seems pretty fucking no-brainer to me. Like it solves a bunch of problems at once, I would say. And then like as long as I would say, like you were kind of saying, like it would probably have to, well, you didn't say, but you were saying like you can't just stop there. You do have to keep rolling with it, but like that's a start. Like everyone, the one thing I've also noticed is like on every fucking side, people always just talk about like the implications of doing something, and no one ever does anything. It's always about the implications. It's like fucking do something, I guess. Is kind of what I'm looking at it from.
I think I'm just skeptical of the benefit it would have. On,
I mean,
like it would help, you know, whoever lives there. You got new stuff, cool, but like as a whole, healing the scar is not going to do anything. And maybe I'm just a pessimist and not an optimist. Like I just feel like it would mean absolutely nothing.
It would not mean absolutely. There's a chance it could fall on mostly deaf ears, but there would be like a couple people that would be like, okay, I see some sort of reparations trying to be made. And if that was kind of like some sort of, you know, if it was kind of like, you know, you did it in a way where you are also, while helping like all groups out, you're also spending a little bit extra attention on the groups that like, you know, are labeled marginalized or something like that. Like, you know, again, you're healing scars, both physical and like, you know, emotional or whatever from the past. Like,
I mean, if it was like going kind of back to the town example, like if you're like, oh, this individual name owned a building that got burned down, here's money to compensate for that getting burned down. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
To me, that would make sense. But then it's like, well, I'm kind of affiliated with that person by this factor, so like I want money too, and that's what it just turns into.
Well,
So it's like,
how about this? What about the businesses that have been around for a certain amount of time, or what about businesses? And this is gonna be, you know, a logistical nightmare too. But like, you know, look at businesses that maybe are still there. Maybe that's all you gotta do. Just look at the businesses that are there and be like, listen, your shit's in disrepair. You're having trouble. Like the heating is expensive here. The plumbing is like fucked. Like, we're gonna build all this up because you're a business here. You're a core of money, and by extension, you know, like, you know, hopefully, and granted, there's also like fucking like a whole bunch of other sides to this, like that it is a logistical nightmare, but like
that's the whole point though. You can't solve the logistical nightmare, so stop and we gotta come up with something better.
Well, but like what's better? That's why my two defaults to solving the issues is we need someone to hold us all at fucking gunpoint if we want to get anything done, or we need a fucking plant that kills everyone in the fucking world. That's
honestly the real thing is, like, the real solution. Nobody likes it. If you want to, basically, you're gonna have to find a way and research and explain exactly how people were impacted by past, you know, wrongs, essentially.
Come up with like an exact dollar
So one is research how much actual impact does this have, and you're also going to have to research, because the problem is if you do this research and say, okay, all the people that lived in this town prior, their great 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 or great great grandchildren here, if one of them's a millionaire and one of them's living in a box, like it's already fucked. Like you can't correlate that what happened then has caused them to be where they are today, because one's a millionaire and one's living in a box. Something else happened, right? So it's hard to, you have to be able to prove that the reason said group or individual is in the spot they are because of this. You have to prove that it was because of that directly. And it's so hard to do, and you can't pull the card of like, well, everybody was impacted in some way, shape, or form. The other ones just got lucky. It's like, you're not helping.
Maybe you could put like an income cap or something, or like if you have a certain amount, or like if you're making a certain amount each year and have been, then like you don't need this. So like, you know, bam, like, you know, you're not getting that bonus because you have $1 million. Like,
but then nobody should get it. Nobody should get it.
Maybe that bonus that that person had goes to their brother who's in the box, and then it doubles their bonus. Like.
But so like what I want to do is, my angle always is, why is that guy in a box? Let's find that answer out.
Regardless.
That's how you start. That's how you actually start fixing problems. If you walk up to the guy in the box and say, "Hey, there was wrongs done to your great grandfather. Here's $10,000." He's still going to be in a box. He's going to be in a box in 5 years. So why don't we actually fix real problems instead of trying to me, the people that promote like reparation type ideas, they just want to do it so they can feel good about themselves. Like they don't actually want to fix anything, and they're too lazy to actually fix anything. And that's my cynical view.
With that last part is like, I think most people, and I can't say I've done a whole lot to try to better any communities. Like I've done a bit, but like most people are too lazy to do anything. Like we could have spent this whole like 2.5 hours fucking building up a porch for someone or something. Like, I mean, like,
because if you don't, let's say you give everybody, that entire group, a bunch of money, and then they all, because of other reasons why they're actually living in a box, for example, lose it all again. Then they're just going to say, "Oh, I'm still not made whole by the evils that were done in the past." Like they're always, it's just going to be an endless bucket.
Well, then maybe, I mean, you could do something like take a census, because the censuses are taken fairly frequently in this country. Take a census of the people in there as best as you can get, and you know that's probably going to take some time of like contacting organizations and making some connections. But again, like, what doesn't require work in this country? You can figure out a way to maybe get an idea of that, of like who these people are and why they're like, what's going on, kind of more on a ground level. And then maybe do something like if say the person in the box might be like a drug addict or something. You can be like, listen, like here's like some money, a portion of this stipend is going to go to getting you fucking like, drug rehabilitation or some shit. Like, and at the very, whether or not you are still like, whether or not you're solving any like real problems, like you still are showing that like there is a effort by, I'd assume, the people, but also like, again, if the government's building shit up, the government too, to at least like look like they're trying to help solve like an issue from the past. And I think that like the point that we're at, whether like an issue is like true or perceived in the past or in the present or whatever, like the fact that we're talking about this, there is still discourse, and like I just think that that's a way to help alleviate discourse from the loudest side of things. And then if the person, say the person in the box like doesn't improve after that point, it's like, well, that we tried and we gave you a fair shot, and like maybe you could have, maybe there's like something that you can, like some existing place you can like refer them to and be like, you might still be at square one, but like we fucking like here's some resources for you and like best to you. Like, and then at least everyone who's seen it and like angry about that kind of stuff can be like, well, are like maybe not all of them, probably not all of them are going to see, things like this, but it's like at least some people will be like, okay, they tried. There's some sort of effort going into like making things better.
Yeah,
And,
so
like,
it's all just for, but then it's just all for show. It doesn't even
Not-
matter. It doesn't matter if you see results. It's just, do people feel better about things?
well,
And my thing is, like, people would feel a lot better if they weren't in that situation. So how do we fix that? It's like,
you
I
can't.
think
mean,
what people need to
it happens.
realize is bad stuff happened in the past to all sorts of people. All right, it sucks, and it's going to be with us forever, no matter what. Like, as much money as you throw at it, that pain's still going to be there. The history's still going to be there. That's not going to change. What we can change is people's positions now. What is causing people pain now? Actually, not, they assume like it's like, oh, like this group's struggling because of wrongs done to them in the past. It's like, well, you can say that if you want, whatever. Let's actually fix the problem though. What do we need to do now? What's the issues now? Not what caused it in the past. Like, you can point fingers all day, but
That's like almost one and the same. Like it's almost like there's like a physical level, and then there's the emotional level, and it's like now they're almost like people perceive it at least to be like exactly one and the same, and it's not necessarily, but I do think there are points where it does intersect. Like again, that town, I think in Michigan, like that is one that intersected, like a point where that intersects. But like yeah, like you do have to tackle it. I'd say like if you're gonna fix the issue of like the person in the box, you have to do something like MK Ultra-ish, where you're fucking coercing everyone very subtly to be on a same like social page. Like if we, instead of making all these fucking stupid ass TikTok trends and making everyone on board with that, made it like really fucking cool to like post the fucking name of the book that you just finished reading on some sort of topic, then it's like that. Then everyone would be doing that, and the person in the box might be in less small of a box or something. His situation might be better because everyone around him is like, I'm gonna be better. I think that's how you'd have to do it, is make everyone as a whole slowly slide into like fucking working with each other.
it's also,
As
I
I
feel
was
like,
saying earlier, it comes down to like individual character in a lot of situations.
yeah, and
Say
I
that
feel
one-
like it. Say it again, Max.
I was just saying that's why what I was trying to get at earlier is like, in a lot of situations it comes down to individual character and like those individuals being a community and wanting to help others in that community.
Yeah.
And that's all I was trying to get at earlier when I said like that's not the government's job to build individual character. It can't be done.
I know,
But-
but like
Yeah.
I guess one more thing also, like this is one point I forgot until you kind of said, like at the same time with like whether these scars or whether not the scars, whether like the fucking like issues are like in the past, like at least still like if we diverted like some money away from our military, because I do think that our military budget and everything is like way too big. We don't need to be making all these things that are just made just to kill people. Like, I think like some of that destructive money could go towards, even if it doesn't get anything done, at least we're not killing people. Like that's another like kind of point I have. Now that's not really a point that like stands too well just because it's mostly emotional, but like I do think that's another point of it, is like, again, emotional shit is a big thing. It's like,
But then, like, are we not doing? It can't be good to keep bringing it up, right? To say, hey, if you're struggling, you want to know why you're struggling, because this happened. That's why. And then you just keep bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. Like, that can't be good for, like, emotional anything. Like, and I'm sure, like, the sons of the fathers that had their businesses burnt down there would have raised their kid to say, hey, I know this shit happened and it's awful, but you're not going to let it ruin anything about you, okay? We don't do that in this house. Like, we're going to move
sure
on and we're going to work our way there. Like, and it feels kind of degrading to grab a group and say, hey, you're struggling. Want to know why you're struggling? Because of this. And it's like, oh no.
but I mean, if they brought it up themselves, though.
They don't. Also, that's the funny part. Is
That's
it's,
the thing. All these like grassroots things. I like to say like protesting has become like fashionized.
It's not even like an idea that came from the base, really. I mean, maybe it started like that, but then politicians grasped onto it and realized, like, oh, this is a moneymaker, and it's also a way for me to get clout and votes. So, like, that's gonna be the topic of discussion. And then they don't actually try to fix it. They're like constantly blaming other people and like saying like, oh, it's them, it's them, it's them. And it is degrading.
And the people I see that are all up of always talking about race and always talking about these types of things are rich white women.
Yeah. And they do those TikToks where they have like words written on their hands and they're like saying a poem.
Yeah, so
with the words,
it's
like...
all for ego stroking. It's not. They don't actually want to change anything. It's...
I mean, I'd say some people. I mean, again, I don't think that like all of it is. I definitely think that there is like a big, like, you know, there is probably like a big group of people that are, you know, they do it just to like make themselves look good. But like,
I think it's the majority.
Or
I've not seen it any other way.
Yeah, or to like sound smart or something.
Like I only ever see it from like those people and like politicians that just want to say things that sound good so they get elected. Like I've never like met somebody that said, you know, in the past my family struggled because of X, Y, and Z, and we've never been able to recover. Like, just we couldn't get our feet back on the ground.
I feel like
I've never met anyone like that.
I feel like there's countless examples of people who have failed over and over. Well, but I guess to Aaron's point, if it's like an external thing that destroyed it, that's not really a failure. That's just like an attack. But I mean, there's stories of people who've constantly failed or lost everything, and then they somehow are able to get it back and then come back even stronger.
Yeah, well, that's true. But then there's also like probably more stories of people who know like who have everything at their ability and they fail, which is kind of not. I guess it's not really like a major point in this at all.
End of the day, we're all part of the same amoeba, I think, and like it's got to come down to like individual character, I think, and like there are always going to be evil assholes out there, and we should not like promote them and advocate that stuff, but to like constantly point the finger at them doesn't really do good either. I don't know.
Yeah, pointing fingers and throwing money doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like, look at schools, man. Like there's so many examples where it's like they're like more money that'll solve this education problem, and it's just like it's not so much like the money that goes. It's like how is it used?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I do. I see that. Which I mean, in that case,
there have been like attempts to give money for certain broken things, and then it's just not used right, and it like kind of just keeps going, and the narrative stays the same. I think. I don't know.
I feel that kind of cyclical. And I guess like your point on on schools and stuff. I would say this is more of a side point than anything, but like. One thing that I do think money would fucking help with in schools is fucking school shootings, dude. Like, if you had a fucking, like, metal detector at, like, the entrance of every fucking school, like, you could just see if they got a gun on them.
Have you seen the movie Pay It Forward?
No.
Just asking. It's about, like, I'm going to spoil it. It's an old-ass movie, though, but... it's about a kid who like starts this trend of like paying it forward and doing nice things to people, and in the end he gets stabbed in school. But
oh my God.
they made us watch that in middle school, by the way. The kids that had the knives walked in right when they got to the metal detector, just tossed it over the thing when nobody was looking. Like there's.
I mean, but a knife's not a gun though.
No, but the metal detectors were there to detect metal. They threw it over the metal detector so it could not be detected. You would do the same thing with a gun if you were trying to be bad. So.
That, but if you throw a gun, like, first off, it might misfire and someone would hear it. Second,
dude, they don't.
No, that's not how guns work.
Misfire like that. Yeah, they don't just go off when you catch it.
But also, like, how stealthily do you think a high school kid is going to be able to take like a fucking rifle and throw it over a metal detector without anyone looking, without anyone hearing it hit the other side and just walk right back to it and then pick it up and stow it back away. Like, it's a big, heavy fucking rifle, and that's a long way.
Bro, not
because
if you have like
you-
a 22, like
you-
like
No, because if
limit-
if this was like in this scenario, you wouldn't bring a rifle. You'd bring pistols.
that's what I'm saying, like a tiny ass 22 that you can hide in your sock. Like
And you
that's a
still-
thing. They also have
still
3D
think-
printed plastic guns now.
But again,
So,
like
like,
this, like it's again, and I hate this. It's like that doesn't solve the problem. The problem is why'd the kid bring a gun to school? That's the
I think
problem. So fucking fix that. Stop.
You have
Stop
to-
with the other
Yeah,
nonsense.
from both angles, because there's a problem from both angles. I'd say there's like a physical, logistical problem, and then there's also like the emotional bit to it, and that kind of thing. And there's like their past and stuff. There's different facets. This isn't like a catch-all thing. You have to do it from everything, but like, I think that that's a pretty no-brainer thing. Like, you can at least eliminate rifles that fire quicker than pistols and have like more rounds in them than pistols. So you're
I don't think
Making
rifles fire
problems
faster
small.
than pistols.
what's that?
Rifles don't fire faster than pistols.
I mean, maybe if you're trained, don't they have?
If you're trained, you
Anyway.
that's the same as the pistol.
Like a 1911, you can just fire off like 10 rounds in like very.
It just
quickly.
depends on how fast your finger is.
Okay.
The gun really doesn't do
Well-
anything. And no, there's no such
also
thing as
it's like
automatic
with that-
guns.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
I agree. There's like a mental aspect and a physical aspect, but if you're like just trying to bolster this like physical security thing, then you're essentially living in a house with styrofoam on all the corners and plastic electrical inserts so you don't shock yourself. It's like
and that's the
like,
thing
right.
is like
that's not like a way to
it's
live.
the
You just live
un
it.
the
Yeah, but it's a
unpopular
way for-
analysis. You have to do risk analysis, and nobody likes it because you're using human lives as figures. But you got to be a grown up at some point.
well,
You know,
yeah,
how
maybe-
often does this happen? And it's like not very. So to give every school mandate that they have metal detectors, it's impractical. It's not worth it. Like,
Well,
yeah,
I think
you can lock everything down and literally live in a police state to guarantee that nothing bad ever happens to you. You could do that. but
no
then-
listen, I would say it is no less police statey than fucking like the weapons we make. Like, we just don't see like all the fucking shit that we have in our military could be turned against us if they wanted to. Especially nowadays, there's like a lot of fucking like drones and shit,
Excuse me.
drone strikes. Like, shit can be turned against us really fucking easy. We're in a fucking police state. It's just not super obvious yet. Like,
Well, we're
Like-
not
like-
because bad things still happen. Like if we lived in a police state, that kid never would have made it to school with a gun.
yeah, but like
He would have been droned on his way to school. like
I kind of do think we live in a police state, but
we're definitely in a police state. It's just not obvious.
I just mean
like-
full on lockdown police state. Yes, we
Okay,
have.
Yeah, but that's not equivalent to like putting metal detectors at the entrances of every school. Like, that's like, it's kind of freaky.
No, I'm not
like,
saying
I
I'm not making that equivalent. I'm just saying if you want to live in a world where nothing bad happens, that's what you have to do. But we don't. You have to do risk analysis on it. And
Yeah,
the unpopular opinion is these do not happen near and often enough that would be warranted. Like, and
well,
nobody
well, I
likes
mean,
that, but it's the truth.
I would say again, like, so much of our tax dollars go towards our military, and that's something that is designed specifically to like fucking like kill and take over. So that why not take some of that money?
No, yeah, that's a waste of money, but so would
with
be
the-
putting metal detectors in public schools.
Yeah,
Let's
but
let's
it's not as destructive
it's
of
not
a
as
waste of
bad.
money.
I just have a
It's
higher
not-
standard.
No,
Like
would
I
say
don't
that-
I don't want to say, oh, that's a little better.
I would
No,
say it's
let's
a
fix
net
it.
positive, because you're not harming anyone making this metal detector. You're taking a weapon, assuming like the fucking money comes from the military, which it wouldn't, but in my ideal scenario, it would. You're taking money from something that is causing destruction and death, and you're putting it into something that, at worst, it's a chunk of metal that's not doing anything. But along with that would also be like, maybe you could have a couple guards employed and making money to stand and guard this. You're also creating jobs and doing other things alongside it. And, those guards would probably be hired to watch to see that they...
I would say the job are. Yeah, I don't know.
I would say the job. I'm kind of being tongue in cheek, but like the whole job creation thing. If you're hiring like 2 guards and then you're firing like 100 people who are building a nuke, you're
Well, you're
losing
not.
jobs,
There's
but-
not. I mean, like, I don't think you'd be firing 100 people who build nuke, and those people who are building nukes are probably paid a shitload of money.
Yeah,
But
I don't-
again,
I
that's
don't know. I was
trusting
just
the
kinda
government to
speaking to
manage
results of-
funds, and that's just gonna fail anyway. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it already is right now. I'm just saying that, like, it's just to me, like, we're like, it just makes sense to just design the schools with a metal detector. Like, guns are metal; it'll decrease that, I would think. And like, it happened. I think even like one school shooting is enough to be like, okay, let's just fucking like make sure that it can't happen. Because like,
well, see, that's the thing. Maybe that's the point. Like I disagree. Like,
well, like, what if it happened? Like,
and
like,
it sounds horrible, of course, because like it's kids' lives, but it's you can't when
I
type
mean,
these
Gemma's
things.
school locked down because they had a dude running around their campus with a fucking gun, and she was on lockdown for a day.
You know,
Like, it's prevalent enough to where, like, I wouldn't say it doesn't happen often. I think it happens somewhat often. Like, it's in the news pretty
but
frequently.
you also have to factor in that the news covers the entire U.S. and it goes to everybody's phone to tell them, so everybody thinks it's in their backyard.
I mean, I see that too, but like, I still think that like, just like looking at the numbers of it, like it still happens often enough to where like there should be a flat, like, thing done all across the board to at least fucking make
Well,
some sort of head.
If we could actually get accurate numbers, like with when they say it's always in the news, like, so mass shooting, or here's a school shooting that occurred. A guy at midnight drives onto the school property and shoots himself in the head. That's counted as a school shooting.
Mhm.
It's like, what? So we don't even know how many school shootings actually happen because it's so
Well, yeah,
so vague,
but,
and
like,
they
the
count
ones-
so many
the ones-
things.
I don't even hear about those ones though. Like, the only ones I ever hear about are
No,
the ones-
because they don't say that. They say school
well,
shooting.
yeah. Well,
That's
Then
it.
they're like counted in the
But though,
numbers.
like the ones that at least that I'm thinking about, they at least have like the number of people hit and killed. Like, it's like this many wounded, this many killed, and everyone that I've seen is much more than like one. It's like, at the very least it's like 7 or 8, and it's not just someone that shot him in the head. So that's the ones that I'm seeing, in addition to the ones that it's just a person hitting in the head. Like, yeah, it is, like, I would say that's inflating it, but like, even disregarding this, I'm already disregarding those. Like, it doesn't, like, it still doesn't add up to me. Like, it's like, it's still often enough, and enough people losing their lives that are just kids. Like, they're just fucking kids, and like, at the end of the day, I think those are the things that need to be protected probably the most in our
What
country.
about a more radical approach, and instead of like having institutionalized schools, everyone's mandated to homeschool their kids?
I've
Then
thought
there'd be like no school shootings.
I mean, I've thought of that. Like, I was when school shootings really started coming up more. Like,
But
that was
it's
when I thought 1 or 4 people. Are
Like the
gonna
parents already don't care enough. Never mind about their kid to just throw them in a public school.
But, like, here's the other
Yeah,
thing
but-
too. Like, if it was such a problem as they say it is, this massive problem, you wouldn't need to be telling us and preaching to us that we need metal detectors in school. The parents would already be at school saying, "All right, we got to do this, 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 and this to protect our kids," but they're not because there's no threat.
I don't know if it's necessarily that. I think it's just like everyone, the bystander effect. Like, I feel like everyone's like, if someone's gonna fucking take care of it, and like no one is, because everyone's just like, someone will take care of it.
don't
That's
know,
on the parents, and I would say like I do. That is an interesting point. That actually is really interesting. But
I would
never
say
thought
it's
of
a
that, but
little
that's
when
like-
when your kid's in the school. I feel like you'd be a little more proactive.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. 'Cause that's on the parents, then, man. Like, I've seen mom and dad like fighting school board stuff that they care about, and like they don't like doing it, but like they take it on themselves because they care. If like when people are like, the government should be doing this to fix it, it's like, bro, you're already just putting your kid in a public institute where they're learning all this garbage, and like at the same time you don't even care enough to like actually push the school board for something that you want. Like that, like you could, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like there are proactive parents out there that see past the bystander effect or whatever. So like, it's not impossible.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I just think that that's something that people fall into alongside um, the thought that like I can't really do a whole lot about this. I guess like yeah, you could like, talk to the board and try to get things changed.
But you could go on, like
Yeah.
you yourself could go talk to the school board and like
I could.
protest shit.
I could do that. I mean,
But
like
it's-
anyone could.
Yeah, exactly. So. I
But
don't
yeah,
know,
I
I
feel
mean-
like with a parent with a kid in school, if they really thought that it is an immediate threat that their kid's going to get shot at school, they wouldn't even send them to school.
But then, like, I bet you if you talk to the ones that, like, like it's a random thing and it probably won't happen to your kid, I guess, but, like, you talk to the ones that, lost kids, they probably immediately flip flopped on that and were like, listen, like, yeah, okay, it might not happen, but it might, and, like, I don't want anyone else to go through this. Like, it really should, like, be different. Like, things should be dealt with different. I bet you that is, like, I bet you there were many parents who, like, were, apathetic to this whole thing or really didn't pay much mind to it that in one fucking phone call that they get from the police all of a sudden their entire opinion is just different, like, and like it
Yeah,
probably
but
won't
I've
happen.
always
Like,
I've always held to the idea of when you're going to have an opinion on something, you have to ask yourself, if I became a victim of such a thing, would that change my mind? You have to ask yourself ahead of time before you make that opinion. So like in my case is no, I would say no, we don't need metal detectors in school. And then if a school shooting happens in my town, I'm not going to change my mind on that. Like I view that it was not a high enough risk, but it will happen. I just say like, like it's bad luck.
I mean, like, I certainly think that's something to do with it. Like, like you don't know who the fuck is gonna snap or why or when. But I don't know. I mean, like, if not that, like something, something should be done with it. That's why I'm also not opposed to like fucking figuring out, different, like, I guess, like, honestly, some restrictions on weaponry, like, that.
I don't like that.
But
I don't
but
like
it
that
just
idea.
falls back on again. It's just this. It's not the guns. It's the people. Again, it's society. There's nut bags, always. And it's like, oh yeah, but we can mitigate it by taking everybody else's freedom away. That doesn't make any sense. Now, if you can find a way to mitigate it without taking other people's freedom away, like
It's kind of like if you look at like Beverly Hills, those people were like, we hate guns, and now they're like seeing, like, residents of Beverly Hills are like buying up weapons at like record rates right now. They can't even get the guns they're trying to get. It's like, yo, people have been trying to tell you guys forever, and like you called them idiots. Like,
yeah, because
I don't know,
that's
man.
always my
People
thing. It's like
flip-flop.
I don't know. It's just I don't like the blanket approach to anything.
say,
So,
yeah, I don't either.
It's like I like to have a firearm in my house for protection, and I can't do that now because there was a whack job that shot up a school or
Well,
something. Like that
again,
doesn't make
you
any
can-
sense.
You can I mean, it doesn't have to be super black and white. You can grandfather people who have their weapons in, like it's like.
But
if
then,
there's-
okay, then you're going to prevent the person that doesn't have one yet from getting one
yeah,
because they want to have
I mean-
one for safety in their home, just like me.
I mean, they can have a different handgun or they can have a shotgun for home protection. I mean, like, I'm not saying like get rid of everything, but like, maybe tighten things up a little bit. Like,
It won't accomplish
I don't know.
anything. I think that's
I definitely think that mental evaluations. I'm not even saying you have to take a gun away. I'm just saying like stricten things up. Like mental evaluations mandatory. You like you shouldn't be able to get a gun like under the board. I don't think you should just be able to like drop $50 at a pawn shop to get a gun. Like, you have to, in my opinion, you got the power to take a life or multiple lives in your hand. You need to be proven to be fucking sane. We've had this conversation.
so. What about driver's licenses?
What about them?
You have the power to take out people.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you probably should have a fucking sanity check with that too. Like, I mean, if you're gonna be fucking rolling around with any like power, like, yeah, I think you might have to. Now, granted, like that's not as.
But it won't.
It's not designed to kill. Like, I guess one difference is, a car is not designed like you can't walk into someone's house with your car and kill them. Like,
No, but you
go
can
in-
mow down a giant crowd of pedestrians pretty quick.
I mean, yeah, you can do that.
Probably faster
guess
than a
plus
gun,
There's
honestly.
like way more deaths from car accidents than shootings. Like there's a lot.
And there's a lot more deaths from heart disease too. Like it's on the person, man.
Well, I mean, but like, I mean, heart disease is a natural thing, and like, I
It's
think, like,
not.
you know,
To an extent. But like the fact that like the FDA allows all these like garbage in our food, like that's a big problem. Because there's
Yeah.
like a lot of ingredients in the U.S. that the FDA approves that other countries are like, hell no, dude, that's illegal. Like that's used in plastic. You can't eat that. Like
yeah, but like, again, that's not like.
It's not
we're
as
eating
I would say it's not as
burger,
scary.
You know, well, I mean, it's not as scary. As
It doesn't
me,
sound as
like,
scary. It's like, oh, that dude had a
it's
heart
like-
attack because they ate too much McDonald's, versus dude,
yeah.
that guy shot up a McDonald's. Like it sounds
like-
scarier, but people are dying still.
I mean, people are still dying, but like, like you can't take the time to reflect on your life while a bullet's coming at you and change your ways. If you're eating a shitload of burgers, like your death is coming slow, and you have time to look and be like, all right, I'm gonna stop this. And, like,
Yeah, but you
do
may not
something.
realize it until you actually are having the heart
I mean,
attack.
you might
Then you're
not,
like,
or you
oh
might
shit,
be-
no way, I want to take it back.
But like, I mean, it's still like we're comparing a burger to a gun. Like that's pretty. I don't know. They're pretty different. I'd say. Like yeah. At the end
Well,
of the
we're
day, like,
we're not comparing burgers to
Gun-
guns. We're just comparing a death as a death.
well, a death is a death.
And how do we
like, they're
prevent
very-
death?
They're very different though. I mean, there's you were saying before you don't like talking in broads. Like that's pretty fucking broad. Death from gun by death by burger. Like
No, a death is a death. We don't want people to die. Period.
yeah. And
But for
there's
some
many
reason, we put more focus on the ones that are scarier. I guess.
think. I mean, I agree. Like probably some more focus should be put on that. But like you know, I think another thing is you are choosing to eat the burger. You're not choosing to get shot. And
But
if you
like,
can do
it doesn't. It's not going to accomplish anything.
I mean, I think it would.
Nobody
I think
wants
that
to. And the problem is, even if we did
I'll stick,
bring in
I
all
will stick
these,
I would stick with having a mandatory psych evaluation for a gun. I think is a completely reasonable thing for every gun purchase. I think that is completely reasonable. I mean, I guess that's just like my hard stance as far as like gun stuff goes. I don't think that's too much to take, and I don't think you should have to go any further than that.
I could just say psych evaluations are unreliable.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
You
Like,
could miss
depending-
somebody that's actually crazy, and you could unfairly call somebody crazy that's not. So like, it's
I mean,
just
it'd probably tighten up more. Though.
so it's like it's just
You're not letting every crazy fall through. You're catching as many as you can, and yeah, you might.
so
drop
where
one.
why don't you just ask where are the crazy people coming from? Let's get
I
to
mean,
the
you-
root of the problem, not
Well, I mean, there's crazy. I don't think it matters where they come. There's crazy people all over the fucking place.
why.
Like, I mean, I don't know. For many reasons, there's probably like drugs are probably some of them. There's probably mental illness. There's probably people who just aren't fucking sane because there are people that just aren't sane, and I would say are clear have a gun. So like, I mean, like you know, they're all over the place from all different walks of life. That's why you got to kind of cast a net to catch them all, or as many as you can. I'm not saying it'll fix every single one, but it'll be damn well better than letting all of them go.
Yeah, but it's just when it impacts the person that's not crazy.
Yeah, which like you know, most like if you're like I guess like I feel like this is going back to the whole like you know then you're just saying trust the professionals, which like you know you can do your due diligence and go to multiple different professionals, get multiple different checks from like multiple different people because I know professional doctors who have like completely like different opinions on coronavirus. Some are completely like it's terrible, and some are like it's nothing. So like, yeah, there's gonna be variance in that, but like I say maybe there would have to be like, you know, some sort of other thing going as far as like having like cross references of psych evaluations from like different psych people. I again like I think that is not unreasonable to do to get a gun. I think that's perfectly fine. Now I get like you know that does open the possibility for like someone with power and money to be like, ooh, this person like is too much of a problem for us. We don't want them having a gun because like too many people follow them or are like behind their cause or something. Then like I could see them like pulling some strings, but like still like I still think it's better than just being like whatever. Like anyone can get one, and even if they are fucking insane, like we'll still just let them get one without checking. Like I think checking because some people are clearly insane and don't need one.
I got nothing much else to say. I don't know. It's complicated, but there's definitely ways around that stuff. Like it's, I don't know.
So ways around
Yeah,
everything.
like I completely get where you're coming from, Aaron. I get it totally. I think I'm just skeptical of the effectiveness of it in reality. That's all.
Don't do it. So
Like
guess
I just
we'll
don't think it'll work, and it's. And no, I don't want to play that. Well, let's just try it because you can't undo it once you do it. So, and that's
Well, I
kind of.
mean, we gotta figure something out. We've been sitting on this like for like a decade and a half. We've all been just sitting on this like we gotta do something. We gotta do something, but we can't do this and we can't do that. But we gotta do something.
Well, your guys.
like-
Well, I don't like anybody that says that. I've never said that.
It's just
Yeah,
like,
I don't really
as
think it.
a whole. I'm just saying like as a whole, it's like that's like I see sides of like pick any fucking topic. It's basically just been like, well, we got to do this. No, we have to do this, and then it's just like, nothing fucking happens because everyone's like.
I think it's because
too
Well, I think it's the
late.
people that are saying it that want to do it are just the mainstream people and politicians, and they're only saying it because you want to hear it. They don't actually want to do anything.
There's probably a grain of truth to it too, though. Is the thing like, because like
Well,
every
yeah.
fucking good.
Well, or else you wouldn't believe it.
That's why like. I don't know. That's why like I think it's try to fucking like find the middle ground and like try to like make some sort of move, especially now that like it's been so long that like everyone just argues about something. It's like,
There's some things there just are no middle ground. I don't think. I firmly believe that. Like I don't think there's middle ground on a lot of stuff.
I don't know. I think that most things.
Like when people are like, "Oh, meet in the middle and come together," that doesn't work.
I
don't
would
think
say, like, from a
personally.
like from like me versus somebody else, it doesn't work. But on a let's meet in the middle, policy wise, so the country doesn't tear itself apart, the solution may be in the middle. So like here, it's like, no, I don't want any regulation. Then Aaron wants a decent amount of regulation, but to keep us from going nuts on each other, we can just say, okay, can you at least give us mandatory psych evals or something like that? Then you discuss that. That meeting in the middle works, but in terms of me and Aaron meeting in the middle in this conversation, it won't. No, because like I think this and you think that.
Yeah.
And it's like I see your point, but like I don't think it'll work, and you think it'll work. So there is no middle ground.
I do want to say real quick, I don't want like decent gun control. I really do think like psych evaluation is probably the best way to go about it. I don't think we need to like actually start taking shit away from people physically.
But then it's like, we have mandatory background checks on everything now. That probably didn't exist in the first place. If that was our initial concession, well, heck, you're just going to keep doing this. Like I don't like this game.
That's why I disagree with what you said about middle ground, Lee. Like that's what I was trying to say about like there is no middle ground policy wise either. It never works. Because then it's like either like you just keep taking, or like you give something up or something. Like it. I don't.
Yeah, somebody ends
like,
up just
like,
taking
meet in the middle. You gotta work with the other side. It's like no, dude. We're well past that. That's not ever gonna happen. Like policy wise or like. Just conversationally, I don't think that sort of thing. I don't think that works. Like meeting in the middle, I don't think.
I mean, like, there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of merit to it because I don't think that for one we'd have like half the shit we got around us if we weren't able to, figure shit out. I mean, like, think about this country, like like people were sussing out land shit back in the day. They had to figure middle ground out. Now I get that's a lot simpler than like what we got going on now, I guess, but like I think it's kind of ingrained into everything. Like if you are living alongside someone who like you like either see every day or like are like near them would probably making some sort of concession. Like, I don't know, like, or in like any big fucking issues. Like, I do think that, like, for me, I don't know. This will probably get me flack from both sides, but like with like abortion, like, I don't know the fucking time limits and stuff, but I would argue that there probably is a point where you can, get rid of, the fetus, group of cells, the baby, whatever you want, like before a certain point, but after a certain point, you can't do it. But it's like, I've kind of had that stance for a long fucking time before I really even started thinking about this stuff, but like too hard, but like,
Yeah, I'd never meet in the middle with something like that. That's retarded.
like,
I'm sorry.
and that's why, like, I know.
But then it's like, would you not meet in the middle on that? You wouldn't meet in the middle on that personally.
Oh, policy-wise, either.
But we're
I think-
talking
I think
like,
abortion should be illegal completely.
but right. So the other side's gonna say it should be completely legal, so we can just
Right, that's what I'm
live
saying,
and
there's
hate
no-
each other forever, or give concessions. And that's
I would not give a concession on that.
We
I'd
can
rather
make-
hate the person.
we can fucking make a checkerboard of the states, and we can say these are hard legal here, hard illegal here, hard legal here, hard illegal here, and just checkerboard everything.
Even when you do something that's soft illegal, it pisses off the other people and puts them up in arms.
That's
It's
what I'm
like
saying.
when Texas made the thing like the heartbeat law, then California's like, oh, you're gonna do that? Well, we're gonna make it completely illegal to own guns. It's like, what?
That's what I'm saying. Like in this state, it's like every other. Like, this is a very like unfeasible thing, but like, fucking shit. We could just have it where it's like all of like left beliefs here in this state. The next state over is all right beliefs. The next state after that is all left beliefs, and just counter, like, checkerboard the fucking states and have hard set laws in each state where like abortion's legal here, it's illegal here. Fucking like, this is legal here, it's illegal here.
That's not gonna work because
Yeah,
it's like quasi like that, and people are like, well, we're in Alabama and we can't get an abortion. I have to drive all the way to
I think we-
Georgia. It's like, or whatever. It's like, and then they get pissed off still. It's like, bro, what?
well, the
Like,
thing
I
is,
can't go
it's
kill
not-
my baby in my state. I have to drive to California. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna get pissed.
Uber. They can make an Uber for that. Then
And-
there you go. Then it's a fucking business.
And then my taxpayers' dollars are gonna pay for their Uber. Like, hell no, dude.
Is that how that works? You pay for their Ubers?
I'm saying very I'm saying, wait, for an Uber?
Yeah, I'm saying like they could just make a fucking like private business, and be like, okay,
In that state where it's illegal?
dude, you freaking capitalist private business. What is that? We don't have those in these
No,
states.
I'm saying like if you do that whole like meet in the middle thing and like have every other state yes and every other state no, someone who's living in a no state is gonna be pissed and be like, why isn't it legal here? I have to
Yeah.
drive
I know that.
20 miles.
People
to
don't
get
like
it.
to relocate.
Yeah, it's not.
Or-
There's
or, like,
never meeting in the middle of
They
anything.
can take the baby train over there, and then fucking go back. Like,
Or
that's-
the
if-
left could just stop being a
Alright.
bunch of evil bastards. Then we
Yeah, and stop killing fucking babies. Why is that even like a thing, bro? Oh my, bro.
mean,
Let me say. Do you think more women, like, would feel ashamed of like blocking somebody on a social media app, or do you think they'd feel more like ashamed of like getting an abortion?
I mean, I'd say it probably
God,
comes
I don't
down
want
to
to know the answer.
people, like,
Because I feel like more chicks feel like guilt and shame blocking someone on a social app than they would killing a kid.
I mean, like, I'd say it goes to the individual. Like, maybe someone would, maybe someone wouldn't. I'd say that, like, someone who, I guess we'll go extremes. Like, if someone was like having completely consensual sex with someone and they were being unsafe and didn't use any birth control or anything and had a baby and then aborted it.
Bro, there's no such thing as safe sex, bro. That is a lie. Sex is not
Abstinence.
supposed to.
Abstinence.
Sex is not supposed to be safe. There's nothing
Well, I know we're
safe about it. Like that's
there to procreate and make more like people. I understand that. I'm like I get that, but like I mean, safe sex isn't like.
that's not a thing. It's a
Fuck
lie.
backs. People just want to fuck,
Time I
man.
banged- every time I banged with a condom on, I haven't made a baby. Like, I mean, it works enough. I think it works enough for a term. Like, it's kind of semantics at this point. Like, I think at least.
If you want to kill a baby, you're
I
an
mean,
evil person in my mind, and you
I'm
deserve
like-
nothing more than
It's
burning in hell. To be honest, I'm sorry.
if someone is like sexually assaulted on the other end of the spectrum,
Bro,
like,
that does not happen that often.
I mean, I'm sure it does happen.
Well,
though.
when when somebody brings up that point, you say, okay, if we say those are the only ones that are allowed, would you be happy? And if they say no,
They
then it's
wouldn't.
like you can't use that.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
like-
use that
that's like
argument.
It's a straw man thing. I've talked to so many ladies that bring that up, and I'm like, okay, what percentage of pregnancies are like that? They're like, I don't know, it's like, okay, 0.01% or something, maybe 1%, maybe. But then look at, like, so you're going to tell me that, like, what, 1 million women get raped to pregnancy every year? Like, I don't
No,
believe-
I'm not saying
like-
that. But like, I see what you're saying, but like, I'm not saying that. But like, I understand that. I would say that like, first off, individually, you'd have to like take it individually, case by case. I would say, and second off, again, like, unless it's my fucking like possible kid in the fucking mix, like, I don't even have a stake in the conversation.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I don't think so.
You're not gonna stand up for other babies that don't have a voice. Like, dude, I get there's like very few topics that I get like kind of like charged on this.
He
like,
gets real heated on this
I
one.
hate this shit. It's like it's like you're dancing around trying to justify killing a fucking baby. That's so like evil, bro. And how
I mean,
can
I
like
think
it's
it's-
disgusting.
if it's like like, I think like, you know,
There's
when
no ifs or ands. Like, there's no ifs, bro.
Well,
Like, that's what it boils down to. You're justifying killing a baby
I
that can't even talk for itself.
there's no
It's-
human trace yet, if there's no heartbeat, if there's no nerves.
Oh
if
my
there's no brain.
god, dude, give me a break, bro.
I mean, I'm not I honestly, like, in me talking about this, I don't even think any of us should be, because again, I think that
Yes,
like,
we should, dude.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if you have, not even you have someone? What if like someone has sex with someone, consent? Let's just say consensually they have sex with someone, and then they're like, I'm gonna have an abortion. Like, what can you do about that? Like, you can't.
I would,
stop it physically. You can yell. You
right,
can say whatever.
right. I can't, but like, I could try and be like, yeah, we should make it illegal so that they have to do some gruesome thing to do it and like scar their life.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what goes on also right now, is like people do go through it, and sometimes it is out of either necessity or fear. Sometimes people can't fucking take it. Sometimes people do die because they can't take having a baby. 'cause they're-
Good. If they get an abortion and die, I'd be all for that.
No, I'm saying like they're too small to have a baby, so they have
Oh,
like there's individual like fucking things where like I don't think it should be like all like this or that. Like, I
for
think
this certain thing, yes, it should.
I mean, I don't think so, but
I can't. It boggles my mind when people defend abortion.
I'm not
It
gonna
really
have
fucking
if I-
blows my mind.
Not
It's
even
like
if it's
disgusting to me.
just saying that, like, and this will get me like just as much flack from you as it will from like people on the other fucking side of things. Like, just saying there's probably a fucking middle ground there somewhere too. Like,
No, there's not. Not with
saying.
this topic. There's no middle ground for this one. Seriously.
Well, he's saying if Aaron says there's a middle ground, the left is gonna go after him too.
I mean, I think there is.
Like, how dare you?
Guys are gonna fucking.
No, there's no middle ground. It's like most other topics, I'll be like, I can maybe concede to some extent, but
Well,
pretty much any
maybe-
topic I can
maybe
concede to
maybe
some extent.
middle-
But like this sort of thing, it's like no.
Maybe
dude.
middle ground isn't even the right word, but like individual basis for sure. Like, like if this person over here is doing their thing, keeping or aborting, like, it doesn't fucking affect me. If it's my own
It
kid,
should.
if it's my own kid, I should have the right to say what I want. Whether, like, I probably want to keep my own.
How do you know? Hey, how do you know that it didn't affect you? How do you know that like one of the kids that got aborted wasn't gonna like hire you for some crazy ass cool job and like it
I
is
mean, I
affecting
don't
you right
know.
now? You don't know it or something.
That
Like,
might happen, maybe, but I mean, I'll just.
but you just said it doesn't affect you. It might though.
I
And
mean,
even if it doesn't affect you, it could affect like millions of people. Like
I
I
mean,
know
you
it's cliche, but like who's to say that one of the kids who got
could say that-
aborted
what
wasn't
about
gonna
the
get cancer?
people that we nuked in Japan? They could have fucking changed so many fucking things, and that's
Hey, that's bro. That is not
It's
the
not-
same film at all, dude.
so many. That is.
Or
so
like
many-
when people
As
go
the
to-
wait, as
Well,
the
no,
unofficial
comparing-
moderator, I'm gonna
comparing a
have to
burger-
ask you
comparing a
two to
burger
shut the
death to a
fuck
gun
up.
comparing a burger death to a
Wait,
gun.
I can mute you guys, can't I? Just kidding.
Who are you trying to tell to shut up? Both of
Both
us.
of you.
Yeah, I think we should move on. This is exactly what I mean. There's no middle ground for this sort of thing, dude. It disgusts me to the nth degree, and other people like think it's such like a flippant action. It's crazy to me. It blows my mind.
Well, it's like your opinion, bro. But yeah. So Max gets real fired up on that. I just don't get fired up because I'm not even gonna argue it.
But you
Like,
should,
it's
man.
it's bad.
Every fucking guy should. And
No,
then
it's
you
like- it's
I
like-
have a penis. I don't have a say in it. It's like, yes, you do.
No, it's just
bro.
like it's bad. Duh. And if you don't get that, you're not gonna get that. I think that's my
I think
point.
it's like the most evil sin ever. I really do. I 100% think that.
Could be right.
Like I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a act up here, so.
But I was gonna say, so next time, like I feel bad for Aaron. We need to bring like Sam or Bridget on. He needs backup.
Someone else who's got more,
Just so it's
I feel like
even.
Lee and I are like for the most part on board with each other. Like, yeah, I'm not sure. We're not trying.
Well,
to
yeah, like,
on
well,
you. I feel
yeah.
like I feel bad like about that, but we should get another. Like
Either
progression
that or
of
just like
And
if we disagree, only one of us gets to talk.
I'm not fucking progressive. I'm not leftist. All right. I talk like this because I'm talking to you guys who are more right wing.
No, you're center left. I know.
Thing with leftist people, I'd be talking more along your lines. Like, at
So you're
least
just playing devil's advocate?
no. I just think that like fucking people don't understand that like two sides of a coin can fucking figure something out. You just don't have to. Like, I'm just trying to like fucking bring different points of view to different sides. Like, no one fucking gets that.
But it's
No one-
almost some things like Max is saying. You can't like for, and I'm not trying to throw back in abortion again, but murder is bad, right? And if somebody says no, it's good, like how are you gonna argue that? Like how are you gonna compromise on it? It's like, no, it's bad. You can't do that. I think that's the point. Like some things just don't have a middle ground.
Like there was a
Especially
time-
I mean when it's like this thing is just rooted in like I don't know, God-given morality. This is wrong. And that's the ultimate answer. So the end. Now if
And
you
it's like,
want
when it's
to
something like abortion, it's like I understand the perspective people are coming from, but then when I'm like, yeah, I get that, but like think of it as like you're literally murdering someone and stuff. They're like, yeah, I'll try to justify it. It's like, what? And I'll even ask people like, at what point then is it a life? They're like, I'm not really sure. Based on science, it's like, no. What do you think? Like, is it? Stop telling me like what science tells you, because that shit has changed over decades. Like the definition has been changed a million times. So it's like either like that thing is life and is destined to bloom into something that's like a more mature life, or it's just not life, and like then it doesn't matter. Like that's honestly what it boils down to. It's all this like tongue twisting of like, well, at 6 months and this and that, and like cells are forming and it's like, bro, what the fuck? What? Like,
I don't know. I
you're
think that
discarding a life. That's what it comes down to. Like that. There's
on
no
this-
other definition.
being the right wing has historically been all about that, and it's like,
Dude, and that's another thing that people are like, well, what about abortion? Or, I mean, what about orphans and stuff? It's like, what about it? That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about bombing people. They're not in the same realm. Those are completely different, like, caveats. Like, are you
Well, and
bombing for
that's
oil and just to
exactly
take the
how-
resources? Or are you bombing for, like, are you bombing because you're trying to, like, fight an enemy that's trying to kill you? If you're saying, like, I'm bombing people because I'm just want all of their resources and they won't give it to me, so I have to get it through brute force, then it's like, yeah, that's not right. But if it's like they're a threat and they say they're gonna kill me, then like, I mean, what, you're just gonna stand there and take that? But when you're like, it's a baby that literally can't hurt you, but I have all the power over it, and I'm gonna exercise that power in a way to like eliminate it. It's like, what? That's not the same thing
but
at
like,
all. Like.
I think one of the issues and one of the gray areas is like, you know, when it's like you can't tell a woman what to do with herself and with her body, and if she's the one like giving that fucking.
I think we should just stop, because honestly,
You brought it back
that's
up,
another
Max.
that's
You
another
started
straw
again.
man. No, Lee, you did.
I
You
did?
brought it back up.
No.
You were like, you kind of did, but
I was just trying to explain the
I'll
middle
take that.
ground metaphor that we've been trying. I'm gonna call this episode the middle ground because we're trying to explain scenarios where there is no middle ground. That's all I was doing. I didn't bring in abortion. I said murder.
Right.
And like a religious angle, it's like God says murdering is wrong, and he's the last guy I want to piss off. So
It's just like, yeah.
not
Well, no,
talking about
yeah.
abortion specifically, just murder in general
But it's just
is
like,
bad.
it's like
So I
even
can't
had,
argue
like,
with
all the
somebody
same things,
that's
like, it's the woman's body. Yeah, but it was like the man's
Max.
seed. Don't you
See,
think he has some
see,
right?
you're doing it again.
Dude, I'm done.
You're
The
doing it
single
again. I had.
some-
I want it on the record. I did not reinstigate that.
Okay, I agree. But we should just stop. I'm really over it.
Yeah, really. We
on.
should ban abortion talk and gun talk. Since we've already done it, and I don't want to
Yeah.
piss off our fans.
maybe.
We got any new things
yeah.
that we haven't argued
Uh,
about.
Well, they're trying to resurrect mammoths. They said it'll happen in 6 years. That's pretty cool.
6 years? We don't have time. When's the year end? What AOC say? Or when's the world end?
20,
I know when.
2021.
Not 2012.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Why are we still here?
It's me.
Maybe we're not here. Maybe this is the metaverse. We're already in it. And somebody made a metaverse
This is
in
a
the
spicy
metaverse.
episode, dude. This is a pretty spicy episode.
Yeah, you guys missed out if you didn't see this live. We'll take questions from the chat now.
We got lots
We don't have any.
of
There's nobody watching?
No.
The
Are people-
rage really doesn't incur fucking views.
It said we
The
got
The rage?
we got 4 views.
I was one of them
I wasn't. I've
because I
never-
can't see your face, Lee. So I was.
What? Hey, I'm
watching
sorry.
it.
I don't. Oh, you're one
I'm
of
sorry
them,
if I
you
just
bastard.
ruined our. I'm sorry if I just ruined our whole potential of growth by getting heated.
No, people like that. But I feel like people don't like. I don't know. If we ever
topic.
debate again, no, they just. I don't know. People don't really like talking points because it's like, yeah, we've all heard it before. So like,
But we should get another person that's more in Aaron's camp, because I don't like feeling like we're bullying you, which I
I mean,
kind of feel like
I
I
don't
am in a
feel
way.
like the candidates are like Reese, Sam, Bridget. Are the people
Not
I
Bridget,
know.
Not Bridget.
Bridget.
No,
Garrett, yeah,
no,
you
not
want to be on
Bridget, not
Garrett's
good.
side, Aaron? We'll bring Garrett in.
Bring him in. He's probably. Honestly, just bringing someone in. Honestly, if someone opposite of you guys would be best for me. Even 2 people opposite and me just being the center voice, I'd be fine with that.
No, your left wing
want it-
bias is gonna
that-
interfere.
I don't want anyone exactly in my camp. I want so. I think it'd be. I think I'd do best with someone.
Well, if
who's
that's the
left-
thing, like you're like center left. I think me and Max are like center right. We need a far right and we need a far left. Actually, we should just bring a far right and a far left, and then we'll mute ourselves and let
We'll
it
like
go.
start shit and then just beep. And then like once it starts dying down, we like throw some more wood on there.
Just jump in like, no, he had a good point about what was that? That thing, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like what he said with the blah 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 beep.
No, then we're no better than Bill Nye. Fuck that shit.
The other thing we
Who
could-
we get?
I'm the science guy, dude. I guess it's not exactly the same thing, but it's like I just remember like he would do this thing on his like newer show that he had like years ago or whatever. He would do this thing where he'd have like a panel of like experts come in, and there'd be like a bunch of scientists and like one person who's like against the way of thinking. And I think he caught on after a few episodes that it was fucking stupid, but he would basically like entertain all the scientists and people in his corner, and then he just fucking crack jokes at the people who are like presenting a different point. And it just pissed me off so bad. It's like, dude, you're a scientist, quote unquote, you're a TV scientist. Like, aren't you supposed to be fucking subjective? I don't know. It's just no. Rub me wrong. I
Not
don't like
anymore.
that
No.
thing.
Yeah.
Not
Science
anymore.
is a religion now.
No,
Yeah.
it really is.
But yeah.
I wonder who we could.
All right,
we'll-
it's
we'll
fucking
find
late,
someone.
guys. Jeez.
For you,
Almost-
well, yeah, for both of you guys, it's real late.
10:50 for me.
11:51. I gotta wake up with the baby tomorrow. Duh. All right, so that's this week's episode. Next week, didn't we give out homework? What was our homework?
I don't know.
Oh, like
I don't know.
the Chinese propaganda.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because we
Polish up your
on it, but-
points, guys. Polish them up. And in the meantime, I'll watch a bunch of TikTok and I'll make some notes too. And then I'll also scout out.
I refuse to do the homework if I gotta go anywhere near TikTok.
Also, if we have any listeners that got really mad at this episode, we'll invite you on to help Aaron out.
Don't help me out.
Yeah, this is like probably one of the more heated ones, I'd say. It's been interesting.
But yeah, we could do organized debates at some point if we want.
This is
Just if
I'll
we're
come in.
bored, we should do like some serious ones and then some ridiculous ones that make no sense. Why are you arguing this?
Like debate.
What's
debate
what's the
whether it's
best?
a good idea to resurrect Mammoths or not?
What's
What were you
better,
gonna say?
red version or blue version? Debate. There we go.
That is funny, dude. No, the exclusives in blue are.
Yeah, Yellow's the best. Yellow's the best. Just saying.
I like green version.
Yeah, dude.
That busted ass no saving shit.
I feel like everybody had a busted ass no saving Pokemon at some point.
It was. I always thought that the green versions were constantly just fucked. Like, we had a copy.
You actually had a green version?
We had
I
a copy.
feel like it was because were they Japanese locked? I don't.
I thought they were.
I remember.
Or are you
the
talking leaf green?
No, green.
Actual
Game
green.
Boy Color- It was a Game Boy Color Pokemon Green. I think it was
It was
English.
probably like a hack then, and that's what or something.
Maybe.
It might have been. I mean, it could have been.
From like Santee Alley in L.A.
Sure.
It's like this strip where you just buy all these like knockoff. You can buy like a DS cartridge that's got like 50 games on it, and it's just like
Yeah, I saw a
$3.
YouTube video of some guy trying them out, like buying them and then seeing how they work. They all work though, most of them. I need to get some of those. Next time you go there, pick me some up.
yeah, they work. My buddy had one that had all these games on it, and like they work, but it's like what the fuck? It's like the weirdest thing, and you're like, dude,
Yeah.
this was like $5. It's got every game on it. What?
Sweet.
Like, what the hell?
All right, well, later, guys.
Much
Oh,
love
if
you
you're
guys,
li- if
despite
you were
the
li-
arguments.
Yeah,
Love
if
you
you were
guys.
listening to this was also on video and live. We stream it on Twitch every Friday, every Friday, and it's also on YouTube somewhere at some point. So yeah, later, dudes.